Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
Good? Yeah.
The first thing I say is a buttered
Perfect.
buttered
for you,
asshole.
For anybody else, it'd be a real issue. But
It
for
would
you,
be.
it's on brand.
I'm on brand.
Yeah, you're always on brand.
I am a brand.
Dude, speaking of on brand, you fucked this podcast up because you stepped in here with some Franklin's brisket. My God, sir.
Oh.
You made everybody, you put everybody into a sedated state.
Well,
Franklin's brisket, by the way, may I say, that was my first time eating it, and the fucking hype is real.
the hype is real. It's a beautiful thing. Aaron, beautiful person, beautiful brisket.
brisket's
You're welcome. I'm trying to slow you down.
Slow me down.
I'm trying to slow you down a little bit, bring you down to my level. I'm a slow guy. I like to move. I'm like a sea turtle.
You got a lot of energy, though, dude.
I got a lot of energy packed up in here.
I watch your show.
I'm like a sugar packet.
I'm a fan of your program. I enjoy what you do.
Cheers.
sir.
Hey,
Cheers.
to your health.
To yours. Ooh,
That's
it's a little-
hot.
Little hot.
That's fucking hot.
Got me.
This is a boiling pot of fucking coffee.
Got me.
Coffee, boys. Okay.
So the best brisket I've ever had up until today is Terry Black's.
Yeah.
And Franklin's is just as good. It
There
is
you
not
go.
better. It is not better. It is amazing. I don't think there's better. I think that we were talking about this.
Better isn't always best.
There's a level of barbecue that you just like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah.
And there's quite a few places like that.
There's a
here
lot of
in
holy
Austin.
shits. There's a lot of holy shits, and I think there's
Franklin's
a lot.
is holy shit.
Franklin is holy shit.
Holy shit.
Franklin makes you want to like shit your pants, rub your feet,
So
and
juicy.
Juicy, crispy,
Just-
the barky.
Oh my God.
The,
so good.
the rendered fat within the molecules.
And I only had 2 pieces, but I'm like, brr.
Brr, you're sleepy. Are you? We got to bring you back. You got to drink some of your.
I'm okay.
Your hot fucking
Black
coffee
Rifle.
piss. Black Rifle.
Black
That's a
Rifle
fucking
coffee.
shout out.
Yeah.
That's a shout out. I just want to ask you a quick question. This is an easy question.
Okay, Matty.
Have you ever listened to my podcast? I have a podcast called Powerful Truth Angels.
No.
Okay? I have a podcast called Powerful
Fucking-
Truth Angels.
The name's amazing.
It's
Do
incredible.
you have a T-shirt?
I made it. This is our first one we've ever made. I Sharpied it because I was like, I'm going on like the biggest. This is like the what is it? The Oprah of podcasts.
Bropra.
The Bropra. So I was just like, I need to wear a shirt because I have a podcast with my co-host Two Tone, and I just wanted to quickly. I know this is a big podcast. It's doing well.
It's doing pretty good.
It's doing well, and so I just wanted to take this chance to just
Shout out your own show.
shout out my own show because I just thought that this is I'm trying. I want to talk about it again, but
Dude, I want a picture of you with the angel wings and maybe some sort of a weapon.
Yeah, like a crossbow, bazooka, grenade launcher,
Yeah, grenade launcher.
flame laser eyes,
And maybe some of them the old school runner's goggles.
runner goggles.
You know those? What the fuck is that guy's name?
What, Larry? Enticer?
The Bosworth. Brian
Bosworth?
Bosworth. Remember he used to have those goggles from back in the day, Terminator goggles.
The Terminator. Oh,
You know
like
those
just like the
sunglasses?
little Oakley guys.
Yeah, like
Wind stripes.
tactical,
Tactical.
like Roca tactical.
Yeah.
If you were,
If I was a
shooting
tactical
guns.
person shooting guns in the mountain range,
Those are the kind of glasses.
and I would have those to protect me because anywhere I looked, I would be protected from the sun. Always a
Yes.
perfect pitch and temperature of color.
maybe like a yellow tint. No,
Those?
no.
Is he the
That
guy
was-
in Cold Steel?
No,
Or what was his
he
movie?
was-
He was
he
in
was-
like a biker movie,
He
wasn't he?
was a famous football player who blew his shoulder out.
Look at that guy.
And then he became a movie star for like one movie.
The Boss.
What a handsome bastard, though, huh?
Oh my God! Look at that chin.
the
I wish
structure.
my dick was as nice as that
That
chin.
those right there, those goggles. Dice
Those,
Clay,
okay.
Dice Clay has some of those too.
Yeah, the dice, man.
But those kind of goggles, like you with those kind of goggles and a grenade launcher. Look at the flat top.
That's
Jesus.
a flat top's great. Did you ever have a flat top? I feel you were a flat top guy.
Maybe
like a little
I
one,
had
like a
crew
tight
cut.
crew cut.
I had a crew cut. I never got it flat though.
No,
Yeah.
never truly flat.
No.
It takes a lot to go all the way flat.
Yeah, it's a weird look. The flat top. I feel like black guys can pull it off really well. Like Chris Rock had a nice
He had
flat
a nice
top
one.
back
Chris
in
Rock,
the day.
great guy.
Kid and Play. Remember he had the real
Play
tall
had the big
one?
one. That's the
Real
biggest.
tall.
That's the one. I feel
Yeah.
that is the one.
Super high top.
The super high tops. It's so
Yeah.
nice. But I'm glad you acknowledge Powerful Truth Angels. Are you a graffiti guy? Are you into graffiti?
I enjoy it if it's consensual.
Yes.
I think there's a problem with graffiti. It's like, I have amazing art that I'm putting on your fucking building. And you're like,
Yes.
hey, dick.
Don't fucking spray shit on my house
Yeah.
or my building or my alleyway.
It's an asshole move.
It's an asshole move.
But
I
sometimes
agree.
they're super talented artists.
Yes. So my partner Alex on the podcast, he's an iconic graffiti writer, like an OG Venice
one of those guys.
Yeah, like an OG dude from Venice, and that's all I want to say. Graffiti is problematic because you're destroying property, but it is a beautiful art form.
Yeah, if you have like an abandoned building and
Yeah.
someone gives you the green light, fuck yeah.
Go do it.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of really dope graffiti artists. They make amazing stuff.
There are.
But
There
it's-
are.
Wasn't there an issue where so it wasn't really graffiti, it was more of a mural. Someone had painted a mural and then someone bought the building. I think it was in Brooklyn, and they
Really?
just like, fuck this, and they painted it over, and like
Everyone-
everybody shit their pants. They're like, what the fuck?
That was art.
Yeah, it was art.
That was art. You just took down the Picasso of the graffiti.
But that's the question, right? If you buy a building and the building is covered with beautiful art, are you obligated to keep it looking exactly the same? Because that doesn't seem very fucking American.
No, I think you can do whatever you want when you buy a building.
Yeah, just take a picture of it and send it to the guy who made the art.
Yeah,
Hey,
take a picture, NFT it.
treat it like it's a sandcastle.
Treat
Good
it-
job, but
Good
when
job.
it rains,
It's over.
That's a wrap.
Me buying the building is when the rain comes. I like the
Yeah.
notepad. This is such a nice, I really am excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here.
And I want to say when I was a young kid and at the beginning of the UFC, my family were very into the UFC at the beginning. And they still are to this day. But me and my friends, it was amazing. My parents we would watch them at the very beginning, like the Hoist Gracie and the Tanks and the
Yeah.
early shit. Like you'd have like a 500-pound sumo guy fighting a karate person that's 120 pounds. And we used to fight. My parents used to, like all of our parents' friends, they would have all the kids and we would have to, after the UFC, we would all have to fight each other. It was like Battle Royale. And me and my two brothers and then all of our friends would always be over there and we would have to fight each other after. We were all ramped up. My parents would just be all around drinking, having a good time, watching their kids beat the shit out of each other. And
That seems very Canadian.
yeah, it was nice. A 10-year-old just fighting like a 16-year-old, and you're just like, after watching, Hoist Gracie chokehold somebody. I don't know.
Do you maybe think that some of that early head trauma is responsible for your outrageous behavior?
I think there's just a lot of damage up here. There's a lot of damage. There's a lot of shaken up. I'm like a bag of milk, a Canadian bag. There's a lot of stuff inside and
Right.
it wants to get out, but it moves around. I've never had I've never had a black eye in my life.
Really?
And never. And I've been in a lot of fights and I've been punched in the face 1,000,000 times. And for some reason, I've never had a black eye.
That's pretty crazy.
It is. And I remember one time, a New Year's Eve party, I was hammered before, this is early shit. And I got so drunk and I was so funny. And I was like, I want a fucking black eye. And I told everyone at the party was allowed to punch me in the face as hard as they could.
Jesus Christ,
And I was like, line the fuck up, you
No.
losers. And I was like, you fucking losers. You fucking losers. You guys don't know how to punch. You can't punch. You can't punch me in the face. And I would like fucking fuck with them. And then I'd be like, punch me in the face. And then at the end of the night, I had all these welts all over my face. But nobody still got me clean in the face where I got the fucking black eye.
Wow.
And I don't know why I'm just jumping. Joe, we're jumping.
I'm fine with jumping.
We're going to jump around for a little bit. And I used to give my friends black eyes for their birthdays unbeknownst to them. So I would sneak up. If it was your birthday back in the day, I would sneak up and fucking pop you in the fucking face, and then you get a black eye for me for your birthday.
This is what happens when you grow up in the woods. People get really bored. The kids beat the shit out of each other in front of the parents while they're drunk.
There's
You're
a lot of
asking people to
things.
punch you. You punch them when they're not asking for it. What is this?
Oh.
No, what's happening?
Yes.
Sparring?
Look at that. Almost did a backhand. Look at that. No!
Well, the problem is those fucking headgear. They can't see shit with those headgear.
They can't see anything. Look at that.
Oh, my goodness.
Big
Oh, my
overhand to kick
goodness.
to the groin. Look at see,
Oh,
he's
the kid's
spinning.
just spinning around like a top. Look at that.
Like that. Oh!
It looks, I think he fell down. See,
Look
like,
at that. The spin, kick, and the backhand.
See, these
Oh,
kids,
they're going right to it.
these kids
Oh,
can't.
they're going right to it.
They can't hurt each other.
No.
They're not hitting hard. So they should take the fucking headgear off so they can at least see what they're doing.
They should.
Because they're not hitting hard.
They should take everything off. They should bare knuckle. You can't hit hard enough. My son is 5, and I swear he could break my nose.
Well, the thing about hitting, like with the you could poke someone in the eye. That could be
yes,
real.
That's bad.
So I don't think they should take the gloves off, but they definitely should take the headgear off because those are like fucking 10-ounce gloves. These kids weigh 20 pounds. They're not going to hurt each other with
I
those.
love the running and the kicking.
Pillows.
That's like me fighting it now.
Jesus Christ.
That's how I would fight. That's
Look at the
good.
guy laughing. Look at the dude.
Yeah.
The dude who's the trainer is laughing. Oh my God.
That's it.
Jesus.
That's like
these kids are going to
He's
war.
like, get up. Was he
bitch."
taunting him? He was
Oh,
taunting
my
him. But get
God.
the fuck up.
Oh,
Look
wow,
at
he
that. Get
dropped
the
him
fuck up
again.
again. One more time. White Helmet's fucking
Oh, White
laying
Helmet's
work.
got some moves. He's got some
Look at
moves.
that.
I like that
Boom.
spin that he does. Oh,
Boom.
He's got some talent.
And he's shorter. Look at that guy. White Helmet's my guy. Wow! Look at it. That's perfect.
It's a good time to learn because you can't hurt each other, and so like you get accustomed to getting hit. Because as you get older and bigger and stronger and faster, it's scarier. So you're hesitant and you don't learn as well.
No, you don't take in a lot when you're older and you're stuck in your ways. And I'm slower. I feel like I'm slower, but I have dad strength now.
Yeah?
I feel the dad strength is real with the children. I have 3 kids now, and I'm just
Well,
like,
if your kid's 5, it's real.
yeah,
they're little tiny people.
and you got to grab them. And Mac is a thick boy, and I got to grab him. And he's like, I call him a stack of pancakes. He's like, he's got a big butt too. And I grab him, and I'm like, what the fuck? Because he gets all ramped up, you know. And I got to pick him up, shake him like a bag of potatoes or something.
Do you make them fight around drunk people?
No,
Not yet?
no, I don't. We keep no, I don't. I hate drunk people now. It's just like
You're
there's no drunk
sober.
people. I'm sobes. Yeah.
When did you
sobes.
get sober?
Joe. When did I get sober? Isn't that a great question?
Guys like you who
November
get sober
12th.
have a wonderful. Just this year?
No. 2000. What's like 9 years ago?
2002.
9 years ago is 2002.
I knew there was a 2.
Big JR with the mathematics. Let's go.
Excuse me, 12.
You're like, yeah. I'm like 9 years ago.
I
You're
forget
like
what year it is, bro.
1997.
I'm living in the past.
Yeah, no, like 9 years ago, I had an intervention to stop the brutality that I was putting onto myself.
What were you doing? What was your drug of choice?
My drug, cocaine. I just wanted, I wanted everything. I was a garbage head. I would do MDMA, I would do shrooms, I would do acid, I would do.
Want it all at once.
I would, yeah.
Everything.
Whiskey, a lot of whiskey.
Make me thirsty.
I could chug a 26er of whiskey in like 2 pulls.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That's not a smart thing to do, though, right? We could agree.
No. You drink. The second one isn't smart at like 7 a.m. But the first one at like midnight, when you do like 10 shots, like you would drink at the end, my drink of choice. So my drink of choice was a pint glass. So a 16-ounce pint full of ice filled with vodka and 3 limes. So then I would drink those until I was feeling like swirly. Real swirly. So I drank like, 6, 7, 8 of those. Then I'd be like, let's have a beer. Crack a beer. Then I drink like fucking a lot of those. And then I'd get into the whiskey. And then, but on the second vodka, I'd probably do a couple bumpers. And then I just start bumping. And then I'm bumping. And then I'm bagged in. And then I'm deep in the bag.
You're Hunter S. Thompson. You were doing
Bro,
Hunter S. Thompson.
I would want to feel like my bones were outside of my body, and I was like 2 people. I was like my skin and the muscles, and then the bones were over here, and I was like, buddy, let's do a bump. And then you're talking to your buddy, and it's just your bones, it's your skeleton. So I would want to do everything. I'd want to, because I started early. Like the first time I started like early.
12?
Yeah, like grade 8 was the first time I did acid.
Whoa.
Which is scary. And my parents, like...
What is that, 13?
Yeah, like 12, 13.
13.
So, like, I drank... The first drink I ever had, the first alcoholic beverage I ever had was Southern Comfort.
Jeez.
And me and my friend Kylie got wasted in, like, grade 7 secretly. And then I started, like, smoking some smokes. Stealing, from the uncle's drawer. Steal a little carton of Smokies. And then, yeah, just worked it my way up.
Wow.
Yeah, just work your way up.
And every day?
At the end, yeah. So like by the end of it, like high school party boy, like super party boy. High school, like, fun. My house was the hub. My house was the hub. My house was the open door policy in the neighborhood. Me and my brothers were like 2 years apart, so we were like the full crew. My older brother was a psychopath. I was a psychopath. My little brother was a psychopath. So we were like the Matheson brothers. And so my house was, and my parents are beautiful, East Coast loving, food on the table kind of family. You know, not like this like demonic, psycho, toxic
So they
shit.
were
We
happy to
partying.
have everybody coming over.
Our place was the place. You know, every Sunday there'd be, you know, football games on and barbecue and cooking and but it would just be like, you know, everyone was there.
Yeah.
And you know, smoking weed and doing shrooms and acid and all that fun stuff, you know? It was like the 70s, like Dazed and Confused, you know?
And then
Dark Side of the Moon.
9 years ago in 2002,
Yeah.
he decided that's a wrap.
No. So, you know, the journey is so long, you know, going to college, getting into like chef school, doing all that stuff.
Chefs party hard.
Chefs party hard.
I learned that from partying with Bourdain.
Yeah, I bet.
He would go so hard.
Well, it's just a maintenance thing, and it's like a constant thing, and it's just like you build it up, and
It's
just
part of the culture too.
Well, the thing
With a
about
lot of
it
them, right?
is Valhalla. We want to take care of you. We want you to be in heaven. We want you to. Our idea of hospitality is that you are 100% taken care of. We're feeding you grapes. We're shoving meat into you. We're shoving, you know, meat inside of you. We're doing everything. Drink, grapes, the filet, you know, whatever you
Yes.
need. And I think like that's the and you get caught up. You really get caught up because it's every day. Where most people go out and have a Saturday night on Saturday night. We have Saturday night every night. So it is one of those things where you can get lost. You can get lost you can get stuck into it. You can get fucking you become kind of the thing, the monster a bit, you know? And I am so obsessed with everybody having a good time. But sometimes my idea of what a good time is wasn't really the good time, you know? And I was so young, like when I opened my first restaurant, I was 26 when I opened my first restaurant. And 27 when I opened my second one. So when we opened up Parts and Labor, it was crazy. Parts and Labor was a giant old warehouse, big 14-person tables, like a hall. And it was insane. People like food reviewers didn't know what was happening because we were young, we were cool, we played really loud music, and we served really good food. And people just didn't know, you know, it's like one of those things where you like, and it was in a part of town that wasn't really built up yet. And it was just like, it was chaos. And my partners were chaos. And we all loved partying. And we all were like riding this wave. And the wave, sometimes you get fucking barreled. And I think it's just like, but you keep going. And you know, and it is that pressure of making the best food that you can, having the best experience for those people that are coming into your restaurant. And at the same time, excuse me.
What's happening over there?
I'm getting like mucus from the coffee. The coffee's like rattled my mucuses.
Was it like, were you wrapped up in the party because everyone's having a good time and you want to have a good time too? Was it
I was the last guy at the party kind of thing, you know, where it was just like, after about 2 years at Parts and Labor, it kind of died, the hype died down, and it was, you know, it was just kind of one of those things where it's just like every day we partied. It wasn't like it was, and on the days off, all of our staff would party together. And it was just like one of those things. So at 29, I'm 39 now. So at 29, I had a heart attack, right? So I had a heart attack after about a 3-day binge, no sleep, big fucking work, you know, just like 15 years, my whole life of being a maniac, being a psychopath, being like, I'll do anything on the table. Whatever's on the table, I'll do it. No problem. No questions asked. No like demons even.
Right. I
just want to have, like, literally, I just wanted to fucking get so fucked up. And I didn't even know why I wanted to get so fucked up. And then the heart attack happened. And it was like a crazy kind of moment. That was like a crazy thing because it happened like in my sleep. And I woke up. So it was like after I crashed after 3 days. Oof. So I'm at home and I wake up at like 5 in the morning and it's after like a Saturday night shift. And I was like, I'm done. I like haven't slept in 3 days. I'm just going to fucking bed. See ya. And I go home and I wake up at like 5:30 in the morning. And I'm a big dude, so I used to do this thing. Like if I was partying like really hard and I get like palpitations, I would do this thing where I'm like doing like almost like jumping jacks, and I would like cough out the palpitations that I would feel. And I thought that was doing well. I don't know if you do that when you're working out and you feel your heart rate getting to where you feel like your heart's gonna explode. But I used to do this like jumping jack thing, and I'd be like at a party just shoveling cocaine in my face, and all of a sudden I'd be like, ha! 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 And like doing this thing, and everyone's like, "What's he doing?" And I'm like, "I'm at the level now. Now I'm at like the good pace, and like a fucking goddamn cheetah." And then and then I woke up and I was like, "I think I'm gonna have a heart attack."
What was it feeling like?
Okay, it was like an uncompromising vice grip on my heart. So it was like this thing that was getting tighter, and it wouldn't stop. If I moved or anything, and I would stand up and I was like stretching and I was doing all these things, I was just like, it's just clenching and it's getting tighter and it hurts like something I've never, and I'm like 3rd-degree burns, cut my tendons off, break my shit. Like I'm covered in tattoos. I understand pain. I understand levels of pain. I understand, all that kind of shit. And I was like, this is something I've never felt before. And this is something that I'm like, I know my palpitations. I know like, Coke boy fucking psycho shit. And I'm just like, this is not that. This is like, and I was like, Trish, take me to the hospital. And Trish is like, okay, yeah, it's go time. And I'm like, it's happening. It's like we're having a kid. I was like, you got your drug addict boyfriend, like overnight hospital bag? Let's go.
Like, did she anticipate that this was eventually going to take place?
I don't know. If you asked her, maybe. I was so
when you
in
said,
it.
Take me to the hospital. Like if I said to my wife, take me to the hospital,
Yeah.
she'd be like, why?
Yeah.
I would have to explain. Like, I think I'm having a heart attack.
Yeah,
She'd be like,
like-
what the fuck are you talking about?
Exactly. I wore my drug use on my sleeves.
So she was like, this is not outside of what's possible. Let's go.
She's like, you
I
stupid piece
get
of
it.
shit. Let's go.
Hospital. Don't die.
Don't die. We're like 3 blocks away from the hospital, though, which is
that's
lucky.
nice.
Shout out to St. Joe's. So I go to the hospital, and when they take your blood, so I walk in, and they're like, into the ER, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna have a heart attack. And they're like, what? What's happening? Okay, do you do this? Do you do this? And I'm like, yeah. Let's go. I'm having a heart attack here. And they so they take your blood, your enzymes change.
And they find broken glass.
They're like, there's broken glass, there's elastic bands, there's fucking
Tampons.
there's tampons, they're like, there's just a million little Ziploc bags inside of me. I'm like the ocean. I'm the ocean. There's that much plastic inside of me. And they're like, you had a heart attack 4 hours ago. And I was like, yeah! And I was kind of like, sick. Okay, so I had a heart attack 4 hours ago and I'm still alive. So I'm good? And they're like, no, you're not good. And I was like, okay, so what do we do? And they're like, we're going to bring you to the ER and we're going to lay you down in a bed and you're going to calm down. I was like, okay, can I call my parents? I think I need to call my parents. And they're like, okay, call your parents. And I like went outside, like had a smoke, like.
Of course you did.
Yeah, like I'm just like, I'm gonna have a fucking smoke, go outside in the parking lot. I'm like, hey, mom, dad, I don't want to stress you guys out, but I think I had a heart attack. The doctor says I had a heart attack 4 hours ago. I'm walking around right now, so I feel pretty cool, but I feel relief,
What exactly is a heart attack? Like, what happens?
So I had my one of my valves just like closed up. Like it's a matter literally of
Seizes.
Yeah, it seized up. And just seized up. I had
what I know about heart attacks?
What do you know?
Richard Pryor explaining about his heart attack
Yeah.
during one of his specials.
Oh my God.
That's literally about what I know about heart attacks.
That's it. Pryor.
Him going, you weren't thinking about that shit when you eat that pork.
Yeah. Well,
Remember
that's the thing. I don't remember. No. I'm old. I'm young. I know Pryor. Not that bit though.
Yeah, well.
It's a good bit.
It's classic.
It's a classic bit.
Yeah, I'd see it. So what do they do when you go in for a heart attack? Do they give you liquids in an IV form?
Yeah,
and lay you
all of a sudden I
down
get
and-
laced up. I get laced up. I get covered. I get all the patches on me. I get the IV. I get the
Right.
thing. I'm in the hospital bed. things start mellowing out, things start clicking and really kind of settling. My adrenaline is going down. I start, getting sad, start thinking about life. I put on my headphones, put on Explosions in the Sky, and I'm just like, it's Friday Night Lights in my head, and I'm just like, start crying. And then, not a big crier. I'm not a crier. But in that moment, I didn't cry like when my children were born. I didn't cry. I feel like there's too many broken pieces up there.
Do you have a heart attack song that brings you back to the moment when you had a heart attack?
Maybe just like Explosions in the Sky, just like Friday Night Lights. The beginning of Friday Night Lights. If I watch Friday Night Lights for some reason, it like triggers and I'm just like, it makes me just want to party, really.
It makes me, heart attacks make me think of Audio Slave for some reason. Chris Cornell, I would think like I Am the Highway. You know that song?
I am the highway.
Golden wheel.
I am the highway.
I don't know. I'm just expressing myself, Jamie. I don't have any understand. I don't know why the fuck I think like this.
Did he have a heart attack? How did
Chris Cornell? He's suicide.
Suicide.
Yeah, it's sad.
It is sad. The ultimate.
Yeah, super sad.
It's sad. But the
so
we're
heart
in the
attack.
bed. We're in the bed.
You're in the bed. You're all covered in electrodes and shit. They're
Electrodes and
monitoring you.
shit. Then I get up to my room, and they're like, "You have to stay in the hospital until your enzymes flip, your cells or whatever flip back, your white cells or whatever. It could take 5 to 10 days." I'm like, "Okay, cool, whatever." Because in Canada, once again, shout out to Canada. The one really cool thing, healthcare. So it's just like I'm in the hospital for end up like 7 days, and I get a bill for $6 because I had a phone in my room. So I had like a phone, a live whatever, a fucking old school phone. And so I had to pay for the phone line.
Wow.
Yeah. They don't cover that.
That's pretty tight.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And so I'm in the hospital, hooked up to everything. They got to take my blood every 2 hours, 24 hours a day. And I'm fucking fat, covered in tattoos.
So they have to find a vein.
Yeah, it takes forever. I'm getting, it sucks. But I get out and, I got to think about a lot of things. I got to think about what I'm going to do. I got to think about who I am. I got to think about the scariest thing is like, one of the scariest things is your identity. My identity was if you came to Toronto, you were going to come to Parts and Labor and party with me. If you were a chef, if you were like, a cool celebrity, if you were like a thing, you would come to Parts and Labor and like party. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I was so fixated on this like persona, this thing that I'm like this party boy. And it was really scary because I was just like, am I really that? Or am I really this genuine, like, am I this sweet little boy still? Like, am I this monster that I've kind of created? How do I get back to like this place of like sanity? How do I get back to this place of just realness? Like where I can be me. People like the fear of people not liking you is pretty heavy with most people.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I was just like, no one's gonna like me. It's gonna affect my restaurants. It's gonna affect my business. It's gonna affect my contract with fucking Vice. Because my very first thing I did with Vice was a show called Hangover Cures, where I would take a chef and get them as fucked up as possible. Then the next day that chef would have to cook me a hangover cure. And so it was just like, at the very beginning, I was so afraid that my whole identity was drugs, alcohol. It was me. And to separate that and to do the work and to get into fucking all the shit was very scary because I didn't even get sober for 2 years after that.
Wow.
So, or a year after.
How long after the heart attack do you start partying again?
It took about 3 months for me to like spruce my goose up enough to get nuts. And that is the turning point when where I truly believe that I turned into like a fucking full-blooded like addict. Because then all of a sudden, I had an out. I had a safe out. I had the story. I had the love of all my friends. We're like, Matty, we're with you. So much beautiful support from all of my crew's deep. And I was just like, so much good love from my friends. And then all of a sudden I started hiding, going to different places, different bars, different little drug homes, I like to call them. Little
trap house.
Yeah, little places, little critter little homes.
Is that a trap house?
No.
Trap house where you dance?
Trap house.
What happens in a trap house? Fuck chicks?
Trap it.
What happens in trap houses?
You can say it. The drug business happens.
The business happens.
And then you go to the other house to use it usually.
Oh, okay. So you don't get high at the trap house.
Just business. No, Joe. Hey, never get high on your own supply. Dan Crack, shout out to Biggie. I think that's when I really was getting fucking crazy. And that's when I started turning, like...
It's less fun and more of an addict.
Yeah. I got very violent.
Really?
Yeah, like I got banned from our own nightclub. I got banned from I got walked in on and I was trying to like rob pretty much this drug dealer. I swung on, like I would be blackout drunk trying to fight my friends and like being like, you can't stop, like because people would try to stop me. They would I would walk into a bar and like, because I'm in the hospitality group, I'm in the crew. So it's just imagine like being a comedian and somebody gets almost like blacklisted, but we still love you. But you can't show up here. But we love you. You can do your comedy like by yourself out in your car, but you can't come in here. Right? And I'm just like, well, I want to still go into the bar. Right. I go to the bar every day. The bar is that's my safe place. I want to go into the bar. Like, let me in. And everyone's like, you're not dying here. You're not dying at my fucking bar. So then I had to start going to these like deeper, darker places and push myself. And before, when I used to do drugs, I never had to say fuck it in your head. When you're about to jump and you got to be like, fuck it, let's go. So those moments when you often have to be like, you have to push yourself. I was doing that with drugs where I'd be like, now I know that I could die. Before, my ego was like, you'll never die, Matty. You're the fucking man. But now all of a sudden my ego is a little bit shook. But my ego still is like, fuck you. You're going to keep doing this. And so I had to keep doing it, and I had to keep saying fuck you to myself. So every time that I started doing drugs, I would be like, fuck it, let's go. And then that was the moment when I was just like, that's when shit got dark. And so there was like a year of that. And then my last time I ever drank, the last time I ever did any, like fucking anything was, 9 years ago, the weekend of November, 12th. And my friend was visiting from England, a chef, and we were doing a big dinner. And I got so fucking drunk. And I walked in Friday service, mid-service, didn't even show up for work. Took the chef out and was just like, didn't tell anybody. I'm just like bringing my buddy around town, being a host. And I show up and all the partners were sitting at one of the chef's tables. So there was like in the big kitchen at Parts, in this warehouse, there was like 3 chef tables. So the VIPs, the homies, all the people got to sit in the chef tables. And all the partners were sitting there. And I walked in and they're like, what's up? You don't have to show up for work, bro? You get to do whatever you want to do, kind of thing. Like, what the fuck? And I was just like, what the fuck do you want? And I was like, what do you want? Your restaurant's packed. This fucking, look at this. And I walked out into the middle of the dining room and I was like, hey, everybody, who the fuck is having the best time ever? And everyone was like, wah! And I looked at all the partners and I was like, fuck you. This is my crew. This is my fucking world. That didn't go well. Ego. I was such a psychopathic young psycho.
Well, those two things, booze and coke. I mean, they are
Rev
the accentuators.
I got a little pee-pee. I got to make it up somewhere. Like it's so hard to fill the void. And I found that with that, and then the next day, one of my partners was like, "Hey, let's meet for coffee. I want to fire you to your face." And I was just like, okay, yeah, fire me. You can't, I was just like, what are you going to do with your restaurant, bro? What are you going to do with all your restaurants? I'm the face of your company. I'm the guy. And I showed up and he was like, meet me here. I'll pick you up. We're going to go for a coffee. I was like, okay, let's meet up. And I knew that I could manipulate and talk to him and, be like, we're cool. I won't do it again.
Addict shit.
Yeah.
Addict shit.
Yeah, just manipulate. And fucking, and he drives me and it's like, oh my God. He pulls up to like my homie's house, who's like straight edge vegan warrior.
Oh boy.
And I'm just like, oh, perfect. And then like 4 of my dudes come out and I'm just like, okay. Let's see what you fucking losers got to say. You know? Let's hear what all my best friends got to say about me. How much you love me and how much you care about me. Let's see what you fucking like losers got to say. You know, like instantly going into like hating these people that are trying to like help me. And you know, the veils that can come when you sit down in front of your best friends, your true inner circle, the people you can't lie to. The people that you can't, there's no facade, there's no media, there's no nothing. It's you and your friends. And I sat down and I listened for like 4 hours. And, you know, and the next day, one of the guys there goes to meetings and he's like, we're going to a meeting. And so the next day I walked into a meeting and, you know, the miracle happened. And
At a meeting?
Yeah.
What made you hit the switch? You go from, is everybody having a good fucking time, to, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, because I think the lying within that 4 hour period, that transitional period, that was my out. I could stop lying because I was lying. The lying is what really broke me.
It's about whether or not
where
you were
I was
using...
where I was going, the people I was hanging out with, lying to Trish. Another thing, I've been with Trish for like 21 years. You know, she's a fucking saint. She's a hard-bodied Italian-Irish woman. She's fucking, you know, 3 home births. She doesn't fuck around.
Yikes.
She's fucking real deal.
Home births.
Bruh, I'll birth the child right now.
Ooh.
Jamie, you got a baby in there? Let's go. I'll birth you. So the fucking... I was like, why isn't Trisha here? And she's like, she's out. It's up to you. She's got nothing left to say. She's out. It's up to you now. And I was just like, huh. I don't like that. And even now, like, I feel I can trigger that feeling of this is real. This is it. This is a time where I can stop. This is a time where I can, I can stop. Okay, I accept that I have a chance at not ever having to lie. I have a chance. I don't have to do that again. You know, and you know, and then a lot of hard work, a lot of years, a lot of listening, a lot of taking suggestions, and doing things that other people say and listening. You know, a lot of suggestions were crucial. The way I was living my life was not the way I should live my life. The insanity, doing things repeatedly, thinking there's going to be a different outcome.
Yeah. Insanity. It's just amazing that you went from fuck everybody to one meeting and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
And that was it. No more drinking, no more drugs, no relapses. That's it.
That's it.
That's incredible. So you hit the shift.
I hit the shift.
So you kind of knew you were going to have to get off the ride eventually.
Well, yeah, because the thing is I'm I'm more good than bad in the ego, in the drink, you know?
Yes.
I'm more aware than unaware. I'm not a fucking idiot.
Right.
I have a nice life. I love my parents. I love my family. I love myself.
Yeah.
You know, I have a lot of things to live for. And you know, that was the thing where it was just like, am I going to be, you know, a loser?
Right.
Am I going to not have a job? Am I not going to, like, I don't come from money. I'm not going to be taken care of. There's no one to take care of me.
Right.
I need to, like, figure my shit out. That was a good run. You know, I was high school, college, fucking my entire career, everything I wanted to do, perfect. I got to do everything my way, and it ended up here. Almost dead, friendless, jobless, fucking from the most popular cool dude, you know, in my head,
to an almost dead guy.
That nobody actually really liked anymore, too. A lot of people would see me because I saw, you know, I wouldn't shower. I was a psychopath. Wear the same clothes every day, just like maniac. So it's just like nobody wants to be around that guy.
So how did you deal with the shift in your identity? Because like that's an issue for a lot of people. When they stop doing something, it's a big issue for fighters. When fighters retire from the sport, their identity is wrapped up in fight. That's why so many fighters make ill-advised comebacks later in their life. What did you do about your identity? Like, how did you release this hold that you had on this idea that you're this party animal, and that was why you were that was part of who you were?
Well, I think the thing that helped me truly was shifting from a chef. It was at that perfect moment, shifting from one career to another. I was a chef. I only cared about chefs. I didn't care about TV. Fuck you. Fuck anybody on TV. Bourdain's, cool, but fuck everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like the punk chef guy. Right. Where I was just like, being on TV is for kooks. Like, oh yeah, you're gonna be on fucking Food Network? Go fuck yourself.
Right.
You fucking losers.
You sell out.
Yeah, that whole thing.
Yeah.
And then Vice at the exact same moment was doing a lot of food content, and so was I. And so all of a sudden, that was that thing where all of a sudden I could leave that chef persona behind. All of a sudden, I'm just in front of a camera, and all of a sudden, the feelings I was getting wasn't from real people. It was actually from comments and being like, oh, people fuck with me. I can make content, and it makes people happy. It fucks, people fuck with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I was just like, that really helped me just be able to be myself. I took myself out of, I made a lot of different rules even where I wouldn't be in the restaurant past 10 o'clock. So I would never even finish service. So service would finish at 11, but it was triggering for me for the first year. So I wouldn't.
Because that's when everybody partied.
Well, at clean, okay, we're last hour, big push. We're going fucking down. Let's fucking amp it up. Big, finish fucking strong shit. And then we scrub down. And then as soon as we scrub down, everyone gets a beer. Saturday night, I would buy whatever, cocaine for everybody, whoever wants it. Here's cocaine. Here's beers. Let's go fucking party, boys. And, all of a sudden, I didn't have a crew. So
did the other people stop partying as well?
A lot of my cooks did. There was a lot of at the beginning. There was a lot of solidarity.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was an interesting thing because also I'm kind of the last of this bro chef shit. Psychopathic dudes that I was tattooed because I was punk, not because I was a chef. All of a sudden there's all these cool chef bros, but I was a hard-bodied French trained chef, and fucking now everyone's running and jogging I don't think people like saying jogging, but everyone's being active and eating well and doing meditation and all this stuff. So I was my crew was a transitional time too, right? Within the last 10 years, within the last, 7 to 5 years was a big transition. And just the mentality of chefs to be instead of eating chocolate bars and smoking cigarettes and getting drunk and fucked up every day, we're going to meditate, jog or run and work out and be peaceful and talk about different books that help us and check in on each other. And all of a sudden, there was this big transition with me and our team and all that kind of stuff too. Even more so now, it's a full thing across our whole company about all that kind of stuff. But there was it was one of those things where we were just it was kind of maybe they were hiding it from me, but there was definitely we wouldn't drink at work anymore. Nobody would drink online. Nobody.
Out of respect for you.
Yeah, it was a thing. We got you, chef.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's that thing where it's just maybe they were doing all the drugs and partying to people please me. Maybe they didn't want to go as hard as I was pushing everyone to be let's fucking go. We cook hard. We fucking show up for work and we fucking party till 6 a.m. and then we're at work by 11 a.m. That's not a sustainable anything.
No.
That's not sustainable. And I did that every day. I did that, 5-6 days a week for 15 years. I went to bed at my bedtime. When Trish would start blowing my phone up was 6:01. So my bed, I had to be home by 6. Because then she would be okay, now you're getting crispy. From that 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. is when you're calling the drug dealer for the 15th time. And you're doing the crispy shit then. So my bedtime was 6 a.m. So then I'd go home, sleep from 6 to 10:30 and then go to work.
4 hours?
Yeah, bro.
Whoa.
Just a fucking
that alone will
rhino.
give you a heart attack.
Yeah, I guess so. Drank a lot of water though.
Well, that's good.
But fucking shout out to water.
Yeah, shout out to water. I like how that cancels things out. I drink water. Yay.
But yeah, it is.
That's I asked him earlier, do you take vitamins? He's like, no, I drink a lot of water though.
One booger a day just to make sure the immune system. Yeah, the immune system's rocking. So one booger a day. and then just fucking 16 liters of H2O.
Well, it's good to drink water. I agree with that. We can find common ground.
That's our common ground, drinking water.
Yeah, water's good for you.
I like that, Joe.
I think you need more than 4 hours sleep, but that's just my
Well,
personal
now I go to
opinion.
bed at 9:30 and wake up at like 6. So.
Oh, well, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really
I'm like
good.
a 9:30, 10 o'ck latest guy.
Wow, so you're getting a solid, 9-ish, 8.5?
Yeah. Tuck in. I got my sleep apnea mask.
Oh. Do you have the CPAP machine?
Yeah, I
one of
got a
them things?
CPAP machine, but then I don't use it half the time. It's too gnarly. I get up to pee like 5 times a night because I'm such a great water drinker.
Yeah.
So then, putting the machine back on at like
Right.
4 a.m. is not good.
Yeah.
But I sleep good. I'm happy. Joe.
This is a heavy story, man.
It's a lot.
But I love the fact that you realized, like, when your friends were all, like, you were like, fuck, what the fuck are you going to say? And then you're like, oh, that is really it.
Well, it's just like you take you put so many veils on.
Mm-hmm.
You lie. You cheat. You fucking do everything that you need to do to get whatever you need because you
Right.
want it.
'Cause you're trying
I
to fill a
deserve
void.
it because the void filling.
Yeah.
I need it. I deserve it. Fuck the world. Why does he have that? I want that. Fuck. I'm not even gonna do anything. I'm just gonna go do coke with somebody I don't know for 6 hours. Like it's just like, what is that? And then when you're with your real friends. And they're really being sweet, and they're telling you like the real shit, and you just take off the facade, and you take off the facade, and then eventually you're like, there you are, Peter. Hook, the movie, Robin Williams, great film, and they're like, there you are, Peter. But yeah, man, like
People
it
are
is
fucking messy, man. It's
Yeah.
messy to be a person. And,
It is.
And you can get wrapped up in that kind of partying.
Yeah.
Especially if you're involved in something like you were involved with where you are entertaining. Like that's part of what you're doing is like you're the beast.
And then I
You're
became the
guy.
jester,
Yeah.
and then you become like, that's the thing is like the party's over and you become the fool,
Yeah.
and it's like, that's the thing is like now I just want to have a thing, like I just want my life to be normal.
Yeah.
I just want to have I want to go to work Monday to Friday. I want to have weekends with my family. And that's it. Like
That's
I want
great because you got the best of both worlds. Like you had the experiences that you could talk about, and you have you have the chaos in your past, but yet you still are having a good time.
Best time.
Yeah.
I get the best time. This is like, and that's the thing is like my identity is now I am me.
Right.
And it's like I finally get to just be
yourself.
Be myself. And
Yeah.
I'm like I'm a weird loudmouth kind of fucking spaz.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and I got mad ADD and I just want to fucking like grab you and like I really want to feel your muscles right now. That's all I'm thinking about really. I want to be like I want to feel his traps or his biceps. I want to just grab it and but that's my head.
Right.
And then I'm like talking about this vulnerable bullshit and I'm just like I'm going to grab his bicep in like 2 more hours. But it's just like, I think, but I get to be me. I get to get a DM from you being like, hey, come on the show. And I'm like, what world am I living in? And I'm just like, I'm like, still my brain is like, I live on a farm in Ridgeway, Ontario. I'm like, I'm out here with my kids and it's just like, I'm so disconnected actually from.
Should we say how you do it, how you get over here, or should we not say that?
Yeah. No. Everything is cool.
Okay.
No. Everything's cool. Yeah. You can talk about it. You want to
Because
talk about it?
Canada is fucked right now.
Canada's juiced.
They're so locked down, and I don't understand why they think that's good. I don't understand why they think that's the solution.
Yeah.
I mean, we're dealing with an America in weird spots, right? Like America has states, and each state has a different approach. And Florida's got one approach, and California has another. Opposite sides of the country, like literally polar opposite sides of the ideologies. And Florida's doing fucking way better. I was just in Florida, and it's like nothing's happening.
Yeah.
Like maybe you'll get sick, maybe you won't. But we're out here with no masks on, 15,000 people in a fucking arena for the UFC fights. It was madness.
It's crazy.
It was powerful. It was really good. But I'm like, hey guys, take your vitamin D, sleep, drink water. Let's go.
Let's go.
You can't do Canada. You can't do what you're doing where you have fucking Gestapo pulling people over for your papers. Why are you out? Why are you out of the house?
They're doing a lot
There's
of.
a cold floating around. Why are you out of the house?
There's a lot of
Overreaction.
There's a lot of overreaction. There's a government, shout out to Doug Ford. You're a piece of shit.
He's the brother of the guy that died. The Coke guy. He was my favorite.
He was my hero. I was like, there's so many people. Rob Ford. Rest in peace, baby. Dude, Rob Ford. But it's just like that's the guy I wanted to party with. I was like, I want to party with that guy. I want to do crack and like smoke crack with that guy.
Yeah.
And
remember when he was coked up talking about how he was like Mike Tyson and he knocked the motherfucker out? Remember that? I was like, that is such coke talk. There's no.
He didn't even have big forearms. He couldn't knock anybody out. He was just like a big jelly bean.
That's important.
Or is it shoulders? What is it?
I think more shoulders.
More shoulder than forearm.
Yeah, Tommy Hearns had big shoulders. He didn't really have big forearms. Well, they were
forearms are
relatively large.
I'm getting hot, Joe. Getting hot.
Show that shirt, bro. Powerful Truth Angels.
I did a stencil drawing one pencil.
Well, I guarantee you, someone listening to this show is going to create you some fine art that will represent this podcast. When did you start the podcast? You got the ACL?
The Big Dog Sweating. Well, this coffee, this what is it? What's it called?
Black Rifle.
Black Rifle coffee. Let me tell you something. This thing is fucking.
It's legit coffee.
That's
Shout
making
out
my foreskin fucking wrinkle up.
Evan Hafer and Matt Best.
Hey, God bless.
Legit coffee.
Yeah, the podcast. We started the podcast, me and Two Tone. I don't know, like 2 years ago.
How often are you doing the YouTube shows?
Okay, so the YouTube shows are great. We're doing. I have like 3 different little studios now, and I'm doing. When I get back from this trip, I'm going to start doing a new cooking show. And Just a Dash is like, I've only made like 24 episodes. That's expensive. I pay all my dudes like well, and that is expensive to do Just a Dash. We're trying to figure out some funding. And
what's the difference between? I don't know what the names of any of them are. I just find you, and then I watch your videos.
That's good.
I love watching cooking videos. As weird as that sounds, I don't like cooking television shows for the most part. Other than Bourdain. I really got into him with Bourdain, and I'm like, okay, no, I don't really like cooking shows.
Bourdain,
I like Bourdain.
He was a human person. He was a human person. He's like, I don't care where you come from, what your story is. Fucking tell me.
He was, yeah.
He was people's.
He was a very unusual dude. I really enjoyed hanging out with him.
I can imagine. I was so afraid of meeting him.
Me too.
And I never did. And I'm happy that because I was
You never met him?
I never met him. And anytime he came to Toronto, I would make sure that I didn't go. Because, I don't know. I was like, I'm going to fucking ruin it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna walk up there and be like, hey, Tony, let's do a bag of, I wouldn't have done the thing that he makes fun of.
Exactly.
Because I was too young and too fucking psycho.
And too into meeting him.
Yeah. Where I was just like, I can't meet him because I'll fucking kook it.
Yeah, I got super like starstruck when I met him. Don't a few people.
Does that
that
happen
I met.
Often?
Not that often.
You're starstruck right now.
Occasionally. A little bit.
Yeah.
Occasionally, like if I meet a rock star, like when I met Steven Tyler, I was like, I can't believe that's really him. David Lee Roth weirded me out. I was like, this is really David Lee Roth.
That's him, his face.
But
he
he's
looks
so
old.
fucking cool. He's so easy to hang with. David Lee Roth doesn't even have a phone. Like he has a lady that is like his handler, and you have to contact the lady.
Yeah.
And the lady will drop Dave off, and she will say, "Let me know if there's anything wrong, or you need to like."
It's like a baby.
It's crazy. Like Dave did. I don't even know if he had a wallet. I paid for dinner. I don't know if he had a wallet. He just.
There's no way.
Hangs.
He doesn't.
He just hangs, and
That's a good vibe though.
But he's the nicest, most easygoing. He's always laughing.
Yeah.
And I was like, because when I was a kid, my sister's boyfriend had a Van Halen license plate.
Right.
It was like VHN, HLN, or something like that. Like we were Van Halen fanatics in high school. So for from Running with the Devil to like all of a sudden I'm hanging out with David Lee Roth. Like,
dude.
It was too strange.
There's some gods.
It's very strange. But meeting Bourdain was an odd one. And then becoming his friend was an odd one. And like I'd text him about stuff and ask him questions. Like if I was going to a play, I went to Japan. When I was in Japan, I was like, where are the best sushi places? He gave me like some suggestions. He would always give me like detailed suggestions of where to go and this is the spot and go there. And I ate with him a gang of times because his ex-wife was a UFC fanatic, and so I met him at the UFC in Vegas.
She was jiu-jitsu too, right?
Yeah, Tavia. She's a beast. She's really talented. Just really cool, period. But so she was really into the UFC, and then he got really into the UFC too. And so he started coming to some of the UFCs, came to some of my comedy shows, we hung out, we became buddies. I did his television show, and then
Where'd you do his? Which
we went pheasant hunting.
Oh, sick.
in Montana.
That's nice.
And that's when I realized how hard he goes.
Yeah.
Because we were out there in the middle of the woods camping, and this
And he's just
motherfucker's
like-
just pounding. I brought a vape pen. We were getting blasted on weed, and he just kept drinking, kept going. I'm like,
You can drink it forever. Like that's the
Yeah.
thing is, I could drink forever.
yeah,
I could drink like forever. Just days, like not stopping. And I think it's just like that's the thing is you can't stop because then that's when the machine breaks down.
Well, that is the thing about alcohol too, right?
You got to keep it lubed.
Well, no, the alcohol and benzos and alcohol, the only thing that really or one of the rare things that really kill you if you jump off them. That's what they say about Amy Winehouse.
Right.
She
It's when you
died from
stopped.
withdrawals.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is benzodiazepines and alcohol apparently the most common for people to die
scary.
from withdrawal. Like heroin apparently just makes you really sick. You feel like shit, but
Right.
it doesn't kill you,
No, it's when you stop. And that's
or it doesn't always kill you.
yeah, like that's the thing. It's so scary, and that's the thing too. I think most people like if I do stop, there's repercussions too.
So what happened when you did stop?
Nothing. Killed it. Yeah,
You just cold turkey.
I wasn't doing opiates. I wasn't doing anything. It
Yeah,
was
but
just
alcohol. But alcohol alone. Like,
I don't know. I didn't
did you
really.
get the DTs?
No. I
Wow.
was just kind of like, I'm like a fucking giant baby moose, Like I was just like, I'm like, I don't know. I broke my foot literally in like 4 places like 6 weeks ago, and I had a cast on and everything. I'm walking around like a fucking freak, and I'm just like, I don't know. It's like one of those things. I feel like I heal differently or something. Like I'm just like
maybe if you lost weight, you'd be a real athlete.
well, let me tell you something, Joe.
Tell me something, please.
Let me tell you something about losing weight. I'm
Yeah.
a big man.
Okay.
One day I'm gonna get there.
Why don't you go with Action Bronson? Go party with that dude.
Bronson is such a
He impressed the fuck out of me.
he did it. He did the damn thing.
He lost 130 so far, and he's going to keep going.
Of
So
course.
he's going to lose
well, now
another
he's going to
30.
tune.
Yeah.
Now, like that's the thing is like, it's so sweet. Truly, like he gave me a call. We've had our differences over the years and stuff like that, and then he gave
You
me
guys squabbled?
We had like small squabbles. We had some squabs, but I think it was just like, too many cooks in the kitchen with Vice, and I think it was just like there was a lot of different little things, And but he gave me a shout, and I was like it was crazy. Like he started popping up, and I was just like, he's doing it, and I was just like, he's fucking doing it. And I think it's like, it's like I even hit him up like. When his book came out, I like hit him up and I was just like, hey man, like we have the same publisher too. And I was just like, congratulations on publication day, like, 3rd book, big one. And this one's like meaningful, I'm sure your other books are, but I was like, this one's like a real one, And, it's just very inspiring. But I think the thing, so this is addict brain, ego. Now, during the pandemic, I had to figure out how to take care of my family. So I've been trying to figure out, and these are excuses, how to figure out how to truly take care of my family. Because when the pandemic hit, I was only playing defense with my work. I was flying around the world just getting checks, collecting checks. Matty Matheson, come here to Australia. Matty Matheson, come here. Come here, come here, come here. Pandemic hit. I had 6 months of booked out travel, paid, fucking dialed, like here's my year, half a year, gone instantly. Then lost, a lot of stuff. I had to, and then I was just like, wait, I'm a fucking tool. I'm a gadget. There's no way that this is fucking going down like this. So I had to figure out how to make my own money. And so then that's when I transitioned back into restaurants. So with Maker Pizza, I was just a consultant. Now I'm a partner, but for the last 5 years, I was just a consultant. So I was like, I don't even have a fucking restaurant. I'm the chef traveling around the world being a chef. I'm not a chef. A chef isn't a fucking MD. You're not a fucking doctor. A chef is a person that trains other cooks how to fucking cook. If you're in front of your team, you're a chef. If you walk outside, I don't believe you. Like, you're not a chef. You're just a person. Chefs aren't these fucking monolithic things.
You have to be in action.
Yeah, I strongly believe that. Like, if you were in a kitchen, you're a chef. If you are leading a team, teaching them how to cut better, sharpen their knives, cut vegetables, take care of things, build stocks, build dishes, understand the ergonomics of a dish, then you're a chef. But I was just like, I'm not anything now. because I'm only as good as my last paycheck.
Right.
So I'm just like, there's no more paychecks. So I was like, I had some restaurant partners, and I was like, we're going to activate. We're going to build out some things. We're going to build out some concepts. We're going to start doing some shit. And we went into action and we started doing those things. And it's taken up a lot of time and a lot of mental capacity. And I believe after this foot breaking, that I have this gym that I built in my barn, and it's a great gym. I got the TRX, I got squat racks, I got the kettlebells, I got the fucking balls, I got the fucking bands, I got all this shit in my barn. And, I just got out of my boot like 2 weeks ago, and my main concern shortly is going to be that next level. Because it's just like right now I had to figure out, I'm not The Rock. 5 a.m. wake up. I got my to build a new routine that I've never had a routine. I've been a fat kind of kid my whole life. I played sports in high school, fucking lacrosse and shit, but it was like never like I was never like an athlete. I was always like I was like the fat brother. My brother, abs, big dick, way to go, Steve. My younger brother, like bigger than me, fucking massive, strong motherfucker, 20,000 steps a day, psychopath, concrete backpack, walking around the fucking neighborhood like a psychopath. My brother's fucking ripped. Me, I was always the fat kid. So I always have that ego too, where I fucking fuck them. Their DNA is better than mine. So I fought with, being the fat kid, fought with being this, just being this shape, And now I've built to a level where I feel comfortable with my team, that I can start focusing my energy and time more on, my physical self, which will help my mental self, which will now help everything else. So I think I'm trying to like build my own Swiss clock of my Matty world. And right now I had to set up a financial foundation of businesses, which I have. And now I have my home with my family taken care of. And now I can kind of start tending to Matty a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yes. It's a long journey of words to get to you're going to lose weight.
Yeah, Joe.
I get it. Joe. I get it.
I've never worked out a day in my, like, look at these pumps. I got pump ups. You want to arm wrestle? I think I need to, Joe, I would like to lose weight. But I also think it's like, fuck. I know that my cardiologist, I don't have high blood pressure. Mm-hmm. I don't have high cholesterol.
That's amazing.
It's incredible. I don't understand it. And my cardiologist was like, I'm the best cardiologist in the country. You don't need me.
Yeah, but it's Canada.
Yeah, okay.
What does it even mean?
They're fucking
They get
brilliant.
paid slave labor.
No, they get paid
pennies on the
hundreds
dollars.
of millions.
You get paid loonies.
They get loonies. They hundreds of millions of loonies. She definitely has a Range Rover. She's doing fine. And yeah, dude, it was so funny. The thing about healthcare in America versus Canada, perfect example. I break my foot in LA. I break 3 metatarsals on the top of my foot.
How'd you break it?
Slipped off a curb, and my foot got stuck almost like on the curb, and the way that I compressed or fell, it snapped the 3 metatarsals. So it was because in LA the curbs are high because of the water. Like in Canada our curbs are shorter. So
right.
my agility, we have great drainage, sandy soil, and I was like, literally, it was the stupidest thing. I fell down like a baby. I was like a turtle laying in the middle of fucking Melrose. I was like Melrose and Myrtle, and I was like at my homie.
You do not want to be hurt on Melrose these days either.
No, bro.
It's like a Mad Max movie.
Dude, it's crazy out there right now.
Isn't it weird?
Dude, I did a photo shoot. I'm doing this thing, and I had to do a photo shoot. And they wanted to do it just on Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, let's go. Let's do it. And it was
you might as well be on Skid Row.
Yeah, it's there, but it's fuck it, whatever.
So you broke your foot.
So I broke my foot, Joe.
So all this gym that you have set up, you haven't used it, but you set it up.
It's the beef barn. You can call it the beef. It's the beef barn.
Are you gonna get a trainer? That's what you should do.
So I have so many beautiful people around me, so many knowledgeable people around me, and that's the thing. I'm friends with because of Pat from Ruka, and I've have access to so many amazing athletes now that they're all let us know anytime, and I gotta mentally get to that place.
Just do it. Listen,
Hey.
there's all this jabber.
Jabber,
You're
jabber.
jabbering too much about it. I know this is the same thing as...
I said it was excuses, Joe.
I know, you did say it.
I said it. I'll
But
excuse you all day.
I know you will. I think we can help you. I think we can make this push happen.
Okay, you're gonna produce. I want to do a movie.
No,
Okay.
I'm busy.
I'm busy.
I'm not producing any movies.
Don't produce a movie.
I'm not doing shit.
I'm just gonna do work.
Anytime anybody says,
I want to do
"Let's
something with
this,"
you.
I go, "Mm-mm,
No.
I'm not doing shit.
Hunt. The
I'm not doing
the
anything
archery.
more than I'm already doing. What I'm doing
a perfect
is exactly
amount of things.
what I'm doing. I have 3 jobs. I don't need any more things.
3 jobs is a lot.
That's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff.
One of them's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Which
was the easy one?
UFC.
UFC's the easy one?
That's
Yeah.
pretty easy. Because I just have to watch fights.
Is there any kind of like the prep? Or like you know everybody?
Watching
like,
fights. There's too many fighters now. I can't know everybody. So what I do is leading up to fights now, I'll watch everybody that's on the card. I'll watch some event they've been in,
Right.
something that
So
they're
you
really
have
good
something
at.
to talk about.
Yeah,
their kicks or their punches
I
or something.
I want to be able to watch, like maybe they have a tendency, maybe they have something that they're really good at, and something like some guys like Alexei Olenek. He's like a really good grappler, but not the best striker. Like more plotting.
Right.
You're like so you see, he's fighting this guy. This guy's very light on his feet. It's going to be a problem. And I sort of piece together what I think would be like situations that could possibly occur in a fight and what to look for.
And that UFC that just happened.
Woo!
Special UFC, right?
Oh
Am
my
I crazy?
God. So
was that like
special.
just a special UFC?
It was special in every way.
Yeah.
It was special in that it had been a year since we had a full crowd. And so literally the first fight, these 2 girls were getting ready to walk to the octagon. The lights went down, and it was probably only like 25% capacity at that time. They hadn't all showed up yet because it was early. It was like first fight was like 6 p.m.
Right.
As soon as the lights went down, everybody went fucking madhouse. Just yeah. And I took my headphones off and I looked around and we were like, whoa. And me and John Anik and Daniel Cormier are looking at each other like, boys, this is crazy. And we took a photo. There's a photo that's on my Instagram of John Anik, Megan O'Leary, me, and Daniel Cormier right before the fight started. We were so happy. We're like beaming. It was just like, it felt so great because we had been calling fights over the past year, but we had been doing it with no audience at the Apex Center. Like we were so happy there.
Yeah.
Like, look at Megan.
Yeah.
Look at that smile.
Yeah,
we
that's
were
great.
so happy. It's just, that's the pay-per-view crew. And also we could do this. We could hug each other. And when we did the pre-fight stuff, we're talking about the bouts that are coming up. We're standing next to each other because before at the Apex Center, we were like separated and I couldn't interview the fighters inside the octagon. It was all so weird.
Yeah.
So you go from that to Florida. Florida's like COVID
Let's
is
go.
a rumor.
Yeah.
COVID's a rumor.
Right.
They're like, yeah.
It is what it is. They'll
They don't-
figure it out.
But I think their approach is healthier than California that acts like it's a demon and you have to be protected by the governor.
Right.
Like in this fucking guy who doesn't protect himself, doesn't even follow the rules. The guy who gets busted eating at the French Laundry indoors. And lies about it. It was outdoors.
Or the Teddy Cruz motherfucker going to Mexico, little Cancun, brah.
Yeah, but that's not that bad.
Yeah.
That guy was just trying to get away because the fucking state was frozen.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Maybe he should suffer with everybody else.
He should have suffered a little bit.
But that's
Maybe a
not
couple
as
days.
bad.
Yeah.
That's not as bad as telling people not to eat outside or not to eat indoors, and you eat indoors, wear a mask in between bites of food. He was telling people to do that. So it's like California's approach is way worse than Florida's approach, and Florida's approach is way better than Canada's approach, too. Canada's approach is ridiculous. They're arresting people for going to church.
They're
They have 200 cops showing up.
That thing was crazy.
It's insane.
It is like, it's so sad because there's just like, what do we do? Like, it's so tough because we want to take care of our staff at our businesses, and we want to, like, no one goes into our buildings. Like, no one, like, we all wear our masks. We do everything that we can do. And it's just like, for how long? And for how long do we have to do this? For if you're a government, then show us the real plan of getting to a place.
That's not what they're there for.
Yeah.
They've never been there for telling you whether or not you can work. You know why? Because they don't lose any money.
The money keeps going.
It doesn't have any effect on them
Such
whatsoever.
losers.
It doesn't have any effect on them whatsoever if everyone's out of work. If everyone's business crumples, they get the exact same amount in their paycheck. That's what's happening in California.
Right.
You know, and this is like the difference between, unfortunately, because I'm liberal, but this is the difference between the way Republican states handle things versus Democrat states.
Right.
Democrat states are just lock everyone down. We have to protect you. You can't go anywhere. You can't open up. You can't do this. And Florida was the most reasonable, believe it or not. When this is how you know the world we're living in the upside down, where everybody's like, Florida's great.
Florida's
I want to move to
They killed
Florida.
it. Everyone should just do what Florida's doing then. Let's rock.
Florida was a joke. Florida was a joke just 2 years ago.
Yeah, so
nobody wanted to be in Florida.
You know, I just don't want to. It's one of those things. I'm still such a you know, I do want to just do the nicest thing. Like in my mind, I'm like, well, what's the easiest, nicest thing? And I just want to, like, if we're just going to wear masks, then wear masks. I don't know. Like, that's the thing is, like, I am a little bit just like, I want to make sure people are safe. I don't think locking down does anything.
It's worse. It makes things worse.
I
you know why?
think
Because people go inside.
They go inside.
They're
and
trapped inside,
dude,
and that's where
it's not good for
spreads.
people.
That's where it spreads.
And I just don't think it's good for humans.
It's not good for your mental health, and
the
that's
mental
not
health is
good. That's not good for
crushed.
your immune system. And you know, again, there's no fucking instruction on telling people how to get healthier, because that's what's significant.
The only thing they've done is given us a fucking mask. So if all we've given a mask is, I'm like, it's one of those things where it's just like, if you go out of your house, then the variable is there. It doesn't matter how many interactions or how many things. If you've chosen to leave your house and leave a quarantine situation, then that's your decision to fucking rock. And I just think it's just like, the thing about it is we just don't. It's still so early and it's so stupid and it's fucked up and it's
you gotta
like,
give people personal freedom.
Yeah.
You can't take that away from them, because then you're not what we signed up for. What we signed up for is elected officials who represent the people. You're not supposed to run the people and tell the people they can't work. And if you're saying you're doing it to protect them, and it turns out not only does it not protect them, but it's less effective than letting them be free, and you don't course correct and you don't adjust, then you're a piece of shit, and we have to take you out of office. And that's what's happening in California.
Right.
That's why they're recalling the governor in California.
Are they getting him out of there?
They're recalling him.
Get him out of there.
There's another election. He'll
But
probably
California, isn't
wind up
California
winning.
people are eating inside again now?
They are now, because he's being recalled. He opened everything up.
He's like, he's like, everybody wants it, let's
They're not
go.
showing the COVID science anymore.
Right,
They're
right.
not showing the numbers anymore, because the numbers wouldn't be enough to indicate that they should open everything back up again.
Right.
But when the governor's getting recalled, he's got to turn the fucking economy around.
Yeah.
That's when things change. I just don't understand them, man. I don't understand them, because it doesn't make sense.
What was the tipping point for you to be like, I'm moving my family, like I'm moving the thing? Like
I saw where it was going.
Yeah.
I was like, they're telling us, first of all, they told us we're going to lock down for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's really reasonable.
Right.
Everybody will stay home for 2 weeks.
Right.
But then after 2 weeks, it's like, we're going to keep going. And then it kept going. It just kept going. And nothing ever opened. And then they were saying you can't go outside without a mask, which didn't make any sense, because ultraviolet rays kill COVID.
Right.
Like, it doesn't make any sense. You shouldn't be able to run outside without a mask on. Like, you're treating it like it's a demon. You're not treating it like it's a virus.
Right.
And then it's just, I saw how other states were handling it. I'm like, well, they're much more reasonable. They believe in personal freedom, and they also take into account the fact that people have businesses. You can't just let people's business go under because you tell them they can't work. You got to give people the option. People need to decide for themselves. And then once we got the numbers in terms of like what the disease was actually doing,
Right.
unfortunately, Matty, 78% of the people that are in the hospital from COVID are overweight. That's the number one thing.
Right.
The number one morbidity factor is obesity. That's number one. They don't say shit about that because
But
they don't want to
everyone's
fat
obese.
shame.
Isn't everybody obese?
No, not everyone.
Oh,
There's a lot of people that are not obese.
okay.
The other,
30%.
yeah,
Okay, well, 30%, 20%,
28%.
20%.
Yeah. It's not a lot of people telling people to lose weight and be healthy, but they are telling you to stay home and be scared. And it's
The
just,
be home and be scared thing is not good. The internet's not good. The fucking doom scrolling's not good. The mental health is a real, like the sadness,
Yeah.
the cloud of sadness.
oh my God, the suicides.
The cloud of sadness is not great, and it's not.
Yeah. There's a lot of there's a
We're
lot
in
of
unprecedented
despair.
times. We're just in unprecedented times.
Yes, we're in unprecedented times, and there's a bunch of different ways to handle it. But the thing that drives me crazy and that drove me crazy and got me out of California was I was looking at the way some states were handling it, and I was like, that makes more sense. And I was looking at how California
they're
was handling
representing it the way you want to live.
Well, they were doing it in a more effective way because their case numbers were lower, but they had more freedom, and the economies were way better in those states. So even though people were catching COVID everywhere, every fucking state had COVID, right? In the states where they were open, the businesses were staying open, and there wasn't a significant difference in terms of like these states, the businesses are open, but look, way more people are dying.
Right.
That wasn't the case.
Yeah.
It's in fact, Florida has less deaths.
Let's go Florida.
They have less deaths, they have less COVID, and they have more old people. It doesn't make
They
any
got lots
sense
of old
if you
people.
look at it statistically, but they have hot weather and they have sun. And so they're outside
They got the UV.
in the sun, and it's better for you for vitamin D as well.
There
'Cause
you
you're
go.
getting
Vitamin D is important.
It's fucking huge. It's a hormone, man.
I love it.
It's
I
it's
suntan.
huge.
I like suntanning.
Good. Well, that's guaranteed. That's good for you.
Do you like suntanning? Do you suntan?
I go outside.
You
I
go
don't
outside.
Suntan. I don't lay around.
Suntanning's like jogging, I feel.
If I lay down, I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You only lay down when you sleep.
Yeah.
Incredible. I don't know where to go from there. I'm just like, that's it. Oh my God.
The good thing is I can sleep anywhere. I could sleep on a moving train. I'll just lie down.
I can
and
fall
I'll pass
asleep
out.
instantly anywhere, but maybe
Yeah.
that's just because of the gravity pulling my soul.
But I'm saying I don't suntan. No.
I like to suntan when I garden.
If I go to if I'm on vacation, I'm at the beach, I'll
Where
have
do
a
you
couple
vacation?
of margaritas.
Where does Joe
I enjoy
vacation?
Hawaii. That's my
Hawaii's
favorite
great.
place.
Which island?
I like all of them, but I
Yeah.
like Lanai because no
Yeah.
one's there.
Right.
And you can bow hunt at night. So you know what we do?
Night vision?
No, not at night. In the afternoon.
Okay.
Because it's windier then. It's
Okay.
it's easier because you're sneaking up on these axis
So
deer,
you can
which
hear
are
the
very
leaves.
wily.
They ruffle your noise.
Yes.
Yes.
The axis deer are super fucking tuned in because they evolved to get away from tigers.
Yes.
They're the fastest deer I've ever seen in my life.
The axis deers is the ones where you went hunting with the man-eater guy. Or the meat-eater?
No.
the-
That's Steve Ranella. Yeah, I didn't go hunting for axis deer with him.
No?
No, I've been hunting with him before for white-tailed deer.
Okay.
and
Where
we
was the one
went
when you were in like a mountain range? Like a little mountain, like a hilly, kind of almost looked like deserty. I watched a
that
thing.
was Nevada.
Nevada,
Yeah, we were
okay.
in Nevada.
But was
yeah.
that axis deer or am I crazy?
No, that was mule deer.
Mule deer.
Yeah,
So many
axis deer are they're roaming around Texas. The ones that didn't die from the freeze off.
Right.
Like I know a guy whose friend owns a ranch and he had 2,000 axis deer freeze to death.
Wow.
Just stacks of deer. 2,000. That's like a concert full of deer.
Yeah. That's a big.
dead.
That's a lot of dead deer. You
Lot
just
of
put
dead
that in
deer.
a freezer and then you butcher them up.
I don't know how they handled it. I imagine they
I
did
would hope
that.
so.
I would hope so too, because axis deer are really delicious. But
bet.
anyway, Lanai's great because we would go and you could stay at the Four Seasons, and then in the
Nice.
late afternoon you go and bow hunt.
Bow hunt.
We used to do it in the morning, but the thing about it in the morning is like it's so quiet in the morning. It's
They
harder.
hear you.
Yeah, I've been
Even
successful
you're
in the
stealthy.
morning.
I bet you're stealthy.
Yeah, you have to be. You take your shoes
On your
off.
toes. You take your shoes off.
Yeah,
How
you go
nice is the
barefoot.
first time I went to Oahu, the grass on the feet was so nice.
It is nice.
And I still want to do some wild boar hunting there. I really
Well,
want to
if you
do
want to
some
go wild boar hunting, here's the spot right here, all son.
Texas.
Right here.
Texas.
Yeah. John Hennessy,
Texas.
that dude who was here earlier.
Yeah.
John Hennessy was telling me that between Houston and I forget what other spot, it's apparently like this insane wild boar area where they mostly hunt them night with night vision goggles and rifles.
Dude, I remember my dad had a fucking VHS tape called Ferocious Tuskers, and it was a Bowie knife wild bour hunting
Oh,
video.
So the dogs
the
bite
dogs
them.
and like they would like climb into like
Yeah.
their burrows or whatever, their dens or whatever, and it was this like it was so scary. And it was like there's like a bunch of like little freaks running around, but it was like a VHS tape that we used to watch, and it was like the wildest thing. But I think like cooking that, I cooked a wild boar over some coals for a bunch of surfers. And it was like incredible, like
Dude,
cooking right on the like pipeline.
We should do something. We'll film something like that for your show. Let's
I don't
go.
do stuff. I'm
don't
busy.
do
I have
stuff?
6
You don't
jobs.
do
I have
stuff?
6 jobs. That's what you just said. What do you mean? You just asked me to do something
for
Okay.
your show.
Okay.
I said for your show.
Okay, for my show.
That's what I said.
Okay. I thought you wanted to.
No,
you were
I
pitching
said
me
we'll
a
do
new
something-
show. I think you said for our show.
No, for your show.
Joe and Maddie.
No, you have a cooking show. You know.
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Me
how
and
about
you.
we get a wild boar and cook
Okay.
it for your show? That's all I'm saying.
Okay. That
You
sounds.
got so aggro on me.
Well, no,
What
because
happened?
I asked you about the movie and then you came at me, Joe.
I don't even think you asked me about a movie. I think you talked to me about a movie, and I said I'd say
Well,
no
no,
to
not
everything.
a movie, like a mini series, like transitional. Me doing like different martial arts. And then I lose weight. It's like a documentary on me becoming whatever. Who cares?
Just work in silence.
Just work inside.
Work in silence.
Walk.
Get up early.
Come
set
at
the
night.
alarm. Write down a
I come
list
up early.
of things
Burpees.
that you do.
I hate burpees.
You don't have to do those.
I don't want to do burpees.
You don't have to do
I like
those.
doing Bulgarian split squats. I'm
those are
I'm a
good.
Bulgarian split guy.
Okay.
I like doing deadlifts. I like doing a lot of towel work. With grip strength.
Okay.
I like doing. I have a good friend. Shout out to Ben Dussault. He does a lot of like breath work and like resistance training and just like holds and stuff like that. Like really intense buddy stuff.
You know, if you just do like some cardio with a movie on, here's the thing, man.
I got a Peloton. I bought the Peloton.
Pelotons are great.
Shout out
They're
Peloton.
great.
Can I get another one?
Those are so good. They used to be a sponsor back in the day.
They
we had
used
a
to be.
Peloton at the old studio.
Wow.
Thing about Pelotons is so great is you're going along with people. Like you're watching a video and
Yeah,
you're
they're
going
just
along with
talking about
actual
like
people.
ex-wife stuff. It's incredible.
Well, they're fucking getting after it, and you're getting after it with them, and you get carried up in the momentum. Super effective.
I
mean,
was eating a pizza watching my roommate.
That's
Do it.
You can't. That doesn't help. But one thing that does help is watch a movie and get on like an elliptical and just put a movie on.
Put on Predator?
Yeah. Good. Put a movie on that's enjoyable. Crank it up loud so
Yeah.
you hear it over the sound of your voice.
Yeah.
And just get on an elliptical and watch the movie. It's a
The
great
elliptical's
way.
great, right?
Fuck yeah.
I love the elliptical.
It's so low
I love an
impact.
assault bike.
Yeah.
Love an assault bike.
I love assault bikes.
I
but-
love assault
But
bikes.
assault bikes are not casual, and they're
No.
really loud.
I
It's
like
hard to
doing
watch
like
movies.
30 seconds.
Oh, bursts? Yeah.
I do bursts.
yeah,
when
I do
did it.
Tabatas.
See, I've started and stopped, I would say truly, like 4 times.
So maybe it's like the addict thing. Like you just need to just decide.
No, I think I honestly, I'm mentally getting there. Where I got I'm like, there's no other excuses now.
The thing about it is you can talk about it to the end of time, and that's what
just gotta
people
do
love
it.
to do. You just have to do it.
The only difference between doing it and not doing it is doing it, Joe.
Holy shit, that should
It's
be
a
on a
saying.
fortune cooking.
It's a good saying.
That should be in a meme
It's a meme.
on someone's meme page.
Do you have a meme page? I bet there's a Joe Rogan meme page. There's all the pages. How many
perhaps.
different pages are there for Joe?
There's a lot of fake ones. I know that.
So many fake losers.
But I'm just saying that, like, just for activity, it's when you watch a movie with an elliptical machine or something like that, it's like it's not even happening.
No, you're
like
just
you're
there.
in the movie and you're doing
Just
you know,
walking.
40 minutes of exercise.
Just walking.
Walking's great.
walking's great.
Yeah. But
Breathing.
movies get you jazzed up. Sometimes you get excited about, like, if you watch John Wick, that's my favorite.
John
to
Wick,
watch
just
when I
breaking
work out.
arms. He's the new Steven Seagal, right?
Well, he's
It's
shooting
cute.
people more.
He's more shooting people.
Yeah, he
But I
does break
feel-
a few arms.
I love a Steven Seagal arm break, like an elbow break,
yeah.
or like he's always just snapping. Yeah, like that shit's the best.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Above the Law? That's still a great fucking movie. Go back and watch
Dude.
Above the Law.
Above
Was that
the
the
Law-
one where Sharon Stone was in it? Hot as the sun.
Whoa.
Back in the early days of
Sharon.
Sharon Stone. Wasn't she in that?
What was the movie where she moved her legs?
Wasn't Sharon Stone in that?
Sharon Stone's still so hot.
No,
Pam
no, no.
Grier is in Above the Law?
But Sharon Stone was in one of those movies. She was in one of the early Steven Seagal movies. And she was hot.
Marked for Death, perfect
Hot
film.
as the sun. Those early days.
Like a hot, sweet, chili heat Cheeto.
Wasn't it Sharon Stone?
Why didn't she? Her name didn't come up when I typed it in.
Because she was a small character.
His wife, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Steven Seagal was the shit, and she was the.
She was a new one.
She was just his.
Hot, and
his
in
wife.
Hollywood. New to
Yeah,
Hollywood.
There she is.
Oh.
Ooh, back in the dizzy, son.
Look at
He's out
that.
there doing Aikido, and she's looking spicy.
Aikido.
She's looking spicy.
Is he real?
He's very good at Aikido.
He's very good at
Legitimately,
Aikido.
Yes.
Aikido, how does not a lot of Aikido going on nowadays?
Listen, Aikido is good if no one knows anything.
Right.
If the other guy doesn't know shit and you know
You got Aikido?
it's good.
Yeah.
But the reality of Aikido is it's designed to disarm someone with a sword. It was an art for, like, when you're a samurai.
Right.
And like this.
Let's see your samurai.
This is Miyamoto Musashi.
Moto Musashi.
He's a famous Japanese samurai from
Yeah.
the 1400s.
Okay.
And he killed 60 62 men in one-on-one combat. Yeah. And he wrote a
Good.
book called Go Rin No Show, The Book of Five Rings.
Wow.
And it's all about strategy. And I read it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with this guy when I was a kid because when I was fighting, I was always looking for something to give me some sort of a psychological edge.
Right.
And his book was all a book on. I was like, who better to teach you about psychology of fighting than a guy who beat 60 men in fucking sword fights and wrote about it.
Those were strong swords.
Well, he wrote about it in a really fascinating way. His approach was that in order to be a great sword fighter, in order to be a great samurai, you have to be balanced. You have to be an artist. You have to be great at calligraphy. You have to be great at poetry. You have to have all your shit together. You can't be all ego.
5 rings.
Yeah. His thing was, and this is one thing that he said that I always bring up that applies to everything I think in life. Once you understand the way broadly, you see it in all things.
Right.
And he felt like doing all those things in some way was like cross-training for life.
Yes.
Like doing art and swordsmanship and learning
I love that.
all these different things. Yeah, so it wasn't like you would think you just got to be the meanest, fastest, baddest motherfucker,
Right.
and that's how you beat all these people. His approach was not like that.
You need to know how to like trim a tree or grow a flower.
You had to be
Write a
in
story.
control of your ego.
A haiku.
You had to be artistic, and you had to be in control of you.
Yes.
In all ways, not just in the hard way,
Right.
but in the soft way. In you had to be able to be outside of yourself.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So that's my dog.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
good dog to have.
Well, I've always been obsessed by Japanese culture, period. But his book was just like a massive influence on me when I was a kid. How did I bring that up? What was I talking about before?
Above the law.
Above the law.
Steven
Oh,
Seagal.
Aikido.
To like,
So-
from Steven
so-
Seagal to somebody who's killed 62 people.
Well, Aikido was designed for, like, if a samurai was in a sword fight
Right.
and the sword would go flying and the guy was coming at you with a sword, you had to be able to take his energy and use it against him. That was the idea of Aikido. Aikido is not really designed to be the best one-on-one fight style. Like, that's why the Japanese had karate and judo and jiu-jitsu. That was what they used all those arts for.
Right.
Aikido was pretty much specifically designed.
the art of taking away a weapon.
Yes, it was designed to disarm someone. But Steven Seagal was a legit Aikido master, like
Right.
absolutely 100% legit. In fact, he was the first American to run a dojo in Japan.
Wow.
Speaks fluent Japanese.
Incredible.
And if you look at man.
I didn't know that.
I think it's Michael Eisner or one of those guys decided to make him a superstar and to put him into movies and make him a star. And
Did he start like doing like the stunt stuff first?
No, he just did Above the Law. Above the Law was his first movie.
Just
It came out
first-
of nowhere. You ever
He's like,
see him run?
No. What do you mean?
The way he runs is the weird.
Does he have like little? He does like a
He's got
thing.
the weirdest fucking run. People make fun of his running.
It's
'cause
a
his
good running.
Well, he's a tall guy.
It's
but
like a Will Ferrell could do a good running.
Steven Seagal
Wait.
running. Look.
Oh,
Look.
he's like. It looks like he's running. Oh fuck! What's his arms doing?
I don't know exactly what's happening.
Is that good for his arms?
Well, it's not the worst running, but there's something about the shortness of the movement. But I think it's
what-
because he's so used to using his arms for Aikido.
He keeps them tight.
There's just a weirdness
that
to
there's
the
a
way he
clip.
runs. Like, look, he's
He looks like he's rowing,
yeah, he does this.
Look, he does
looks like he's
that.
doing nunchucks.
but I think he's like revving up the engine.
There's a whole YouTube
It's like
video.
He runs like Speedwalker.
You're totally right. That's what it is.
He runs like a Speedwalker.
Look at him running up the hill. Da-da-da.
Dude, hiking? Yeah.
Well, he's got little baby steps. For a guy with such long legs, he takes little baby steps.
Baby steps. A lot of little fast steps go.
Yes.
Yeah.
But as an Aikido master, pull up video of him doing Aikido in Japan in the 1980s.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What about like stick fighting and like that like Jeet Kune Do
Eskrima,
stuff? Eskrima.
Kali. Yeah, that's legit. I mean, it's certainly there's.
Have you done any like weapon fighting stuff?
I've learned how to do it in classes.
Right.
Of someone's taught me how to do like some sort of Kali and Eskrima, but not.
Right.
I'm a white belt of that stuff. I don't really know much about it.
And
No.
you're like with jujitsu, you're like full black belt.
I have a black belt in gi jiu-jitsu and I have a black belt in no gi jiu-jitsu.
Right.
I have a black belt from Jean-Jacques Machado in the gi and Eddie Bravo with no gi.
Okay, cool.
And I had a black belt in Taekwondo.
Taekwondo. I took Taekwondo
did
when I was a kid. I
Yeah.
gave up.
It's good for kids. Like the little kids throwing kicks and punches
Yeah,
at each other.
I want to get my kid
They
into
can't
that.
hurt
I
each
bought
other.
him like a punch ball, like a punch thing.
Yeah.
Mac loves it. He puts the boxing gloves on.
Oh, okay, 93. Great.
Okay, here we
Perfect,
go.
Perfect. So this is right before he became famous, or it might have been like right around when he was
And this is
becoming
in Japan.
famous. Yes.
This is in Japan.
And I'm telling you, dude, if you watch any kind of legitimate
Yes.
Aikido demonstration, he is as good as any you'll ever see. He's absolutely legit.
I love it.
See, the thing is, like, most of this shit is not going to work in the real world.
Right. It looks like, these look like those videos of those people just like doing the flips.
This isn't the best one. There's some from his
Little hip
dojo.
check.
This is just a
But he's like
demonstration.
6 foot. These people are like 5 foot versus like
Yes.
a 6'5" guy.
Well, it's traditionally
armpits.
Japanese folks are thought to be like of smaller stature,
Right.
except for a few. There's a few odd guys that are really giant,
Right.
But he's just throwing this dude around, like
Whoa.
clotheslining him and shit. But I'm telling you, he's a legit Aikido master.
Right.
And I mean, he's a silly man in a lot of ways.
Right.
A lot of his stuff is silly, but when it goes to his, okay, here he is. Now this is him.
And that's his master?
This is him in his dojo in Japan. See, he's significantly younger here. So
This
this is
literally
all,
looks like it's
yeah.
like shot in like the 1630s or something.
Well, someone probably fucked with it to try
Okay.
to make it look. Look at that, like all that
Yeah.
shit. This is all legit stuff.
He's like, come at me.
yeah,
Take it.
see, but
okay,
see,
so
that's
that's a
much
thing.
better. That's
a thing.
But see how he just did that? The guy came at him with a knife and he disarmed him. That is
Yes.
the whole purpose of Aikido, right? Like
Right,
right there.
right.
That was what Aikido was designed for. And this is
nice
legit.
try.
Like the way he's doing it, this is legit.
Oh.
This is about as legit an application of Aikido as you're ever going to see, because that is literally exactly what it's designed for. And he is masterful at it.
What is the oldest martial art?
They don't really know. It may be Kung Fu. They
Yeah.
don't really know.
Right.
You know, it's so hard to see because
Yeah.
it's like, you know, there's some ancient drawings of people doing some sort of kicking and punching. And China is probably the birthplace of most martial arts
Right.
because it's probably the oldest
Right,
culture. But Japan refined it.
Right.
Japan took, it's like, it
In
goes
Japan
into
with
levels.
jiu-jitsu is maybe before Brazilian jiu-jitsu?
Yes, 100%. No. Yeah.
Okay, so it did start in
Yeah,
Japan.
Count Maeda came to Brazil in the
Right.
early 1900s, and he taught Carlos and Elio Gracie. They took Brazilian jiu-jitsu, they took jiu-jitsu and turned it to Brazilian jiu-jitsu. They refined
Right.
it and made it much more about leverage and much more about technique, and they concentrated more on the ground. Like Japanese jiu-jitsu has a lot of throws in it. It's almost like Niwaza from judo, which is
Okay.
like the ground fighting of judo.
Right.
But the Brazilians took jiu-jitsu to a whole new place, and they completely changed the art form.
Right.
But they learned it from Japanese, from Count Maeda, and there's a guy named Kimura who came to Japan.
Kimura.
Yeah, it came from Japan.
Kimura is the Kimura.
That's where it came from.
Yeah.
That submission came from him using that submission on Elio Gracie and breaking his arm.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a match. You can watch the match. It's a black and white match from the early 1900s.
Crazy.
Where Kimura, who was much bigger than Elio.
Right.
See, Elio was a small guy. He was like 147 pounds.
Okay.
And he was, going against these guys who were like 200 pounds.
Wow.
And he had to use like the leverage, and he had to wait till they get tired, and he would wear them out and then eventually catch them in submissions. That was his thing. That was
Wow.
his thing.
Right,
But
right.
it's like martial arts have gone through this crazy evolution. And then Thailand, they had a totally different evolution. Like they figured out kicking the legs, and they figured out a much more effective style of kickboxing.
Right.
And then they figured out a style where they gambled on it. So
Yeah.
they had all these people in the ring,
Yeah.
and then they had everyone around. They would be like making bets.
Muay
and-
Thai is banana town.
bananas, man. It's wild. That's
Carnage? Do you know
Oh, my God.
fucking Carnage?
oh yeah, Corbett,
Yeah,
Nathan
yeah.
Corbett. Yeah,
Man.
Yeah. So you
Watching
can just say
him-
his nickname, and I know him.
I'm just like Carnage. You know Carnage, Nate?
Yeah.
Psychopath.
Nathan
Psychopath.
Corbett's a bad motherfucker.
Dude, I met him once again like through the Ruka dudes, and it's just like watching his highlight reel. Like I'm sitting with this guy. So once again, I love that I don't really know too much, so that you can meet people on these genuine kind of
Right.
these good starting grounds. So I'm like. First time I went to Hawaii, I cooked for everybody for Ruka and surfers and MMA people, and like all these people are there. I'm like, I don't know who anybody is. I don't know who Kelly Slater is. I don't know who fucking.
Shout out to my boy Kelly.
There you go. Bring him to the ranch. Get me on a 14. I need a sup or something. Bring me to the ranch, okay?
What ranch?
Doesn't he have the surf ranch?
Oh, okay.
Okay. Any ranch. I'll
didn't
go to
know
any
you're-
ranch. I'll go to any ranch.
I thought we were back to the wild pigs. Anyway,
I'll bring
go
a
ahead.
wild pig to
Nathan
the surf
Corbett.
ranch. Anyway, but I'm like sitting across. Anyway, we're after whatever. We're just literally just hanging out. And I'm just like, what do you do? And I'm just like, I love going to Australia. I've been to Australia like 7 times. Got a big, a good crew down there. And he's just like, oh man. He's like, I'm like a Muay Thai kickboxer. I was like, oh, crazy. I was like, oh yeah, your face is kind of okay.
Got
I can
some
see
scars.
Yeah, I was just like,
nose
okay.
a little busted up.
And he was just like, yeah, here, check out my little highlight reel.
Yeah, he cuts a lot of guys up.
Bruh, his elbows.
Oh yeah, that was he's famous for. He fought in Glory for a bit, but the thing about Glory is they don't allow elbows.
Man,
so, like,
it is so
best
vicious.
Weapons.
And I'm like sitting across the table from this guy, and I like watch this thing, and you're just like, oh, you're an 11-time world champion, sitting across from me talking about bullshit, and I was just like, and I was just like, oh, you're a psychopath.
Well, he's a competitor.
Yeah, he's a champion.
Yeah.
He's a well, champions are
Most of them are psychos.
Yeah, right? Like
in a
you
good
have
way.
to like I remember at a young age my dad teaching us how to like box a little bit and fight, and I remember he always would say he's like punch to like through the face. He's like you want to punch like you want to like extend through the face.
Yeah.
Like punch he's like think about like punching the back of their head.
Yeah.
And shout out to Big Steve, but
That's what Kamaru Usman did to Jorge Masvidal this weekend. I mean, he punched through his face. It was a perfect example of that.
The chin into the shoulder. He put him to sleep.
He put him to sleep. But the way he hit him, he went through him.
Yes.
I mean, it was
A
probably
train. That's a freight train.
that was probably the best one punch knockout I've ever seen in my life.
Was that the first strike?
No.
Okay.
It was the second round.
It was the second round. Okay.
Yeah, I think.
I was in bed.
Pretty sure it was the second round.
I was in bed.
Yeah,
But
no,
the
it was a perfect punch. Like if you wanted to Google the perfect punch,
that is the perfect
that's
punch.
the perfect punch. Yeah.
And then what about Rose? Rose's kick.
It's a perfect kick.
Perfect kick.
Perfect kick. Yeah,
Fuck
perfect.
Rose.
Didn't see it coming. Landed right in the jaw. Put her out. First round, early
So
in the
intense.
fight. And not only that, a woman in that lady, Zhang Weili, who's thought to be the most durable and physically aggressive girl in the sport. She's
Right.
a monster.
Right.
You ever watch that lady train?
No.
Oh my God! You
She
want to
trains
feel
hard.
lazy?
Yes.
Watch Zhang Weili train.
Yes.
Like it's like
All day. All day.
Oh my God! I mean, just the intensity and the physicality. Like she's so strong and aggressive.
Yeah.
And
She's
so
all
for
sinew.
Rose-
She's all sinew.
for Rose to kick her in the face like that. That interview in Rose after the fight was the first time I ever openly cried while I was interviewing somebody. Like tears were coming down my face. I couldn't stop it. Like
It's real. Rose is special.
she's special.
Rose is special.
She's a super
Thug
sweet
Rose.
person too.
She is. I couldn't believe it. She's one of those people that like she followed me on Instagram like years ago, and I DM'd her, and I was just like, why do you like? Sometimes I'm like amazed. I'm
Right.
just like, why do you follow? Like, is this like you or is this like a
Right.
thing? And she was like, I love your videos. You make me laugh. Me and my husband like love watching your videos. And I was just like, crazy. I was just like, this is amazing.
Do you have imposter syndrome sometimes where you don't believe
100%
it?
every day. Are you kidding me?
I do too.
Every day. Why am I
Yeah.
here?
Yeah. Why are
when
you here?
Dude,
Why am I here?
Why are we all here?
I don't know.
When you DM'd me, I was in a quarantine situation getting back into Canada. And I'm laying in my bed, and you DM'd me. It was like about midnight my time. And I got back from LA, and I was like, I was so stoked. I did Tiger Belly, I did Whiskey Ginger, and I was just like, man, I'm fucking doing like big podcasts. And I'm like, everyone, like, I'm friends with these dudes now. And I'm like, I'm so stoked. Santino's been such a good friend, and Bobby is such a fucking homie. And
I love both those guys.
and-
Santino's here tomorrow.
Dude, incredible comic. Incredible person.
he's a great friend.
He is
I love him to death.
fucking funny.
He's really funny.
He's
Yeah.
fucking, I really like watching him fucking do stand up. And when I got that DM, I was like, what? And it is like one of those things where you're like, huh, crazy. And then I'm like getting pumped up, like coming down here. I'm like, okay, I'm like, it's like, you know, you're getting ready for like a fight. You're like, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna say this joke, and then I'm gonna rev him up, and then I'm gonna like grab his nipples, and then I'm gonna get him to fucking talk about like my podcast on his podcast, and then I'm gonna do all these things, and I'm like, I'm gonna talk about how I did jujitsu once, and we'll get there. And I got tired out. The shrimps got me. Just doing shrimps was like tough on the big dog.
Did you shrimp on the ground? Is that
I was
what you
doing
mean?
shrimps on the ground, and
On
I
the
was just
ground,
like,
hip
I was in
escapes?
Philly. I was in Philly with some dudes. You know Mark Vetri and those guys out in Philly? Italian chef, great chef.
Okay.
He just became a black belt with precision out there. And
Who's teaching you how to shrimp?
Well, we were doing like a chef conference with like a bunch of like, or not chef conference, but like an event. Alex's lemonade stand.
Oh, okay.
So we were doing like a big cancer for kids thing, and he was like, "Hey, open call. Anybody that wants to come do jujitsu, we do it every morning." And I was just like, "Okay, I'll go like 6 a.m. Like I want to try this." And I went, and we took. It was so funny. I was just like, warm up. I was dusted, and then I got a gi on. The gi barely fits me because obviously they don't have any large gis because they're all in shape. And then the one guy, it was so funny. There was no belts that fit me, so the one guy had this big purple belt, and he gave me like a purple belt. And so we took a photo after the thing, and my Instagram was like, "You're a purple belt? We knew it, Matty." And they're like, and so many people were just like, "Oh my god!" They're like, and then some people were like, "There's no way this guy's a purple belt." And then, like it was just like, so, and then I was just like, "I'm not a purple belt, okay, anybody?" But I did jujitsu there, but Alex, who I do the pod, he just became a blue belt, and he's doing it at the Undefeated gym in LA.
Oh, nice.
And so he just got his blue belt, and we were talking about imposter syndrome. He was just like, because we always make fun. He always says he's a tough white belt, and so he's like, but now I'm a shit blue belt. You know, so he's like, it's always like that humbling moment, and there's always like that moment in time where you're like, why do I deserve that? He's like, I should have worked hard. I should be a better white belt to get that blue belt, actually. He's like, I could still work harder at being a white belt to get that blue. And I think like that is the thing where most of the time, like my brain is always saying no. Why do you have this?
Yeah.
Why do you have restaurants? Why do you have this? Why do you have books? Why do you have all this bullshit? You don't deserve this. You're a fucking loser. And I'm just like, I'm not a loser.
You argue with yourself.
I'm not a fucking loser. I gotta pump my own brakes, man, or pump my own tires, or whatever the fuck I'm pumping. But it's just like
Your gas?
I'm all gas, baby.
Pump your gas.
I pump my fucking. I'm gonna rev up. I'm gonna rev up. You want to rev up? Let's get some more fucking black rifle.
I
Bro,
think we are revved up.
We're revved up. What's going on, Joe? How are you today?
I'm good. I think that's the reason why you have that. Yeah, sure. Thank you. I think the reason why you have that feeling, that imposter syndrome, most sane people that become successful do have that.
Right.
You know, because it doesn't make sense, especially like when you're young, you never thought you'd be successful. And then all of a sudden you are, and you're like, is this even real?
I remember I wanted to get to a financial point where I didn't want to check my bank app to fill up my gas. That was a big moment in my life.
Me and Greg Fitzsimmons, you know Greg Fitzsimmons?
I don't.
Fun, hilarious stand-up comic.
Okay.
We started out together, and one of the things we always talked about was that one day we would get to a place where we could pay our bills with comedy. That's all we wanted to do.
Yeah.
We wanted to be professionals.
Yeah.
Imagine you didn't have to have a regular job. You could just pay your bills with comedy. Oh, I remember thinking
comedy, you
that.
don't even get paid. Right? Until you're like, what, a headline? Like, do you get paid for 5 minutes?
Yeah. Well, you get a little bit depending on which club it is. It depends on where you're at. Like clubs in New York, they'll have people do shorter sets, and clubs in LA, sometimes you do 15, so you make like $25 at the Comedy Store if you do 15. But if you do,
it's incredible.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Buck a minute, buck 25 a minute, bro.
You know, there's a different
to go up there and just die on stage.
It's a different thing because it's a place where, like, the Comedy Store in LA was always our gym. It's a place where we worked out, so it wasn't really about making money. We'd make our money on the road,
right?
Like that. But when you go on the road, you know, if you're lucky, you'll get a guy who's a headliner who'll take you with him on the road. So, like, say if you're starting out and you're a host or an opening act, someone will take you with them, and then they'll say, hey, just do 10 minutes and then bring up the middle act, and then you'll get to watch the middle act and go, someday I'll be the middle act. And then one day you're the middle act and you watch the headliner and you're like, someday. And then one day you're the headliner, and then one day people are actually coming to see you, and one day they introduce you and people cheer, and you're like, what? Is this real?
The cheering's crazy, right?
It's bizarre.
Dude, 2 years ago, I guess now, I started doing like a spoken word tour.
Oh, boy.
And
Bourdain did a lot of those. He loved doing those.
Once again, very afraid to go to those, you know? I was like, fuck. He is such a beauty. And, you know, I was like, I'm going to go on stage, and I wanted to start doing tours. And nobody even knew what the fuck they were. And I started in like small bars, and by the end of I did about 50 shows in a year. And it was crazy. Like, it went from like 200 people, which is still amazing. No openers, no nothing. Nobody. People thought I was going to do like cooking demos, and I went on stage and did like a spoken word for about an hour and a half.
Wow.
And
Did you plan it out?
no.
Really?
First night was the first night I spoke on stage. No planning, no fucking notes.
How many people in the audience? 200.
Wow. Oh, it was maybe more. Probably more. It was sold out. The whole thing was sold out. It was just the smaller venues. We started at small venues to amp up.
Was it? What does it feel like? Like, how did you start?
I was just like, I walked out. I was like, you fucking, like, I just started like chirping the crowd a little bit and like working the crowd and being like, where the fuck are you from? I'm like, my first show was in Boston in this like little dive bar, and it was so incredible. I was just like, what the fuck is up with Boston? You guys are fucking all racist. You're fucking losers. You all sound like you're from Southie. I was just like, whatever, making jokes. And I was just like, and then I was just like, okay, who thought I was gonna cook? And everyone's like, this. And I'm like, why would I cook, you stupid fucks? Why would I cook? What am I going to do? Come on stage and make an omelet and share it with everybody? I was just like, no, I'm here to fucking figure out what the fuck I'm doing here. and I honestly, like, we built out, by like show 3, I had a solid hour and a half.
Really?
And I just started, and then I started doing it. And I think I did like a 2,000 cap room. And it was like crazy.
Wow.
And I was just like, this is so wild. I was like, with no prep. And I was like, this is great. And I had a 3-month tour booked. One of the part of the 6 months I had booked was I had a 3-month world tour booked.
Wow.
So I was doing.
So you're just going to do this kind of stuff, but do it all over the place.
Yeah. Well, I did Australia. I've done Australia. I did New Zealand. I did,
Now, when you do 2,000 seats, do you have it prepared, like the stories you're going to tell and the things you're going to talk about?
No. I go on stage and I just start talking.
That's so ridiculous.
But I have a baseline that I work on, and I go on and off, and I have tangents that I can run off of, and I've built out this timeline of my life, and I tell these stories throughout my life.
If you just tell the drug stories, I feel like.
Bro, I have this one story that's incredible where we stole $16,000 from my parents, which they had my dad was an entrepreneur at one point, so we had a lot of money, and then so I stole some money. We gave it to my friend who drove to Vancouver, bought a pound of cocaine, then a uncut brick, 1 pound of cocaine.
How much does that cost?
It was $16,000.
That's it?
At that time. This is like 2000, give or more. More?
No, I was just gonna say it sounds like it's about $16,000.
Yeah, it's about six. Yeah, he's like, James, like, yeah, it's about $16,000.
Have you done coke?
You've never done cocaine? That's incredible, because I find it very fascinating to meet people that haven't done cocaine.
I haven't done coke.
That's incredible. Have you? Never.
Nope.
See, I think it's an interesting thing to me for some reason, because I'm just like, weird. You never wanted to fucking like crack it.
When I was in high school,
yeah.
When I was in high school, one of my best friends had a cousin that had a real problem.
Right.
And I watched him fall apart from coke.
It scares you.
I had a couple other people around me that also had coke problems, and I was back then like super straight edge.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be a winner. I'm gonna get my shit together. Like, my biggest fear in life was being a loser.
Yeah.
My number one fear. It's the only reason why I went to college.
Yeah.
So that people didn't feel like I was a loser.
Stay home. The stay home guy. I'm gonna stay home for a
year.
a summer.
I'm gonna take a year off.
Not
I
me.
did take
Same
a year
thing.
off.
Same thing.
I took a year off, and that was a humiliating year. Whenever I would run
Yeah,
into
you were
friends,
a loser for that year. That was the only year.
I was a loser after
You were
that
a
too,
couple
because I was broke.
Yes.
Even though I was like, if I had to explain to people, like, what are you doing? I travel around the country kicking people in the face.
Yeah.
Like, there was no money in that.
Yeah.
I was
You're
broke.
like, I'm getting paid nothing to go and fight people.
No health insurance, and I was kicking people in the face for fun. That was my number one. And then I was like, okay, I got to figure out what to do with my life. But that fear of not being a loser was why I never did coke, because I saw this guy lose his life. He lost all his weight, got real skinny and pale, and him and his girlfriend just
probably wasn't doing too much coke. He was probably doing a little meth and stuff too.
There was no meth back then.
No? Oh yeah.
This was the 80s.
Yeah.
Nobody had meth in the 80s unless they did and weren't telling anybody yet.
I don't know. There's some around in the 90s.
They definitely had pills.
Yeah.
People had amphetamines for sure, but I don't think they had crystal.
No. The drugs are bad. But the
okay.
But I had this bit about fucking
about the pound of coke. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, Joe. We never interrupt.
Okay, there's a pound.
We got a pound of cocaine.
What does it look like? How big is a pound of coke?
It's like, it's like one of those. It's like a movie. It's like a movie. It's like a thing. We had this like fucking
Like a movie
pack
scene?
Yeah, it is. It's like a pack of fucking shit. So he had to go buy it. Then he had to drive back, and it was back when we had fucking flip phones. So like T9 texting and fucking
Jesus.
Razor Motorola's and fucking shit. And so nobody could communicate. Still, even with that, communication was very shit.
Right.
And so we were like, text us every day. It's a 4-day drive back from Vancouver. So text us every fucking day.
4 days with a pound of coke.
In his car door. In his car door. So he's like unscrewed his car door, put the duct tape it in.
Oh my God.
And it's me and my friends in college. We all got this like whatever. There's like
Was he going the speed limit?
well,
exactly?
This is the best thing. So like on the last day, he texts us and he's like, I'm leaving Thunder Bay. Thunder Bay is about 18 hours from Toronto. So it's most northern part, right? It borders like Winnipeg, and it's like the northern part of fucking Ontario. 18-hour drive home, and we're like, it's coming home, and we're all like cheerleaders. We're like, let's go, boys. Like just like we're all just like, let's go. And then the amazing thing was all of a sudden. We're all getting ramped up. We're like, tomorrow it's going to be here. It's going to be here fucking tomorrow. We're all fucking dropping out of college. This is going to be the greatest decision of our lives. We just bought a pound of cocaine. But the idea was to sell it because we were going to make like 30,000. We step on it like 3 times, sell little baggies. We're going to get rich, And he texts us, just got pulled over. And we're just like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I was just like, we're going to have to kill him. We're like instantly I'm just like, we're gonna have to kill him. If he says my name or if he says, we're gonna have to kill our friend. He's gonna rat on us. He's not strong enough. He's not mentally strong enough to get the fuzz off his back. And he's like, I just got pulled over. Then we're like, okay, nobody text him because then they'll have our numbers. And we're like, why did he even text us? We're like, fuck. We're all like freaking. We're like, do we like boil our phones? What do we do here?
Jesus Christ.
Then all of a sudden he's like, he calls our old roommate Dougie. And fucking he literally's like, dude, I got pulled over and there was like a snowstorm kinda and my windshield wiper flew off and I was using my arm driving like half the speed limit and I got pulled over because the cop is now gonna drive me to a like a garage so I can fix my windshield wiper.
Good cop.
And I was just like, hey, okay. Still got the cocaine in the car? He's like, cocaine's great. Just following this police officer to a garage to fix my windshield wiper. And I was like, why don't you just pull over? The windshield wiper's gone. You got the pound of cocaine. Why don't you bring it back to the fucking, get off the road?
Right.
It's a snowstorm. You're driving a 94 Camry. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it's just like one of those things. And I was just like, when he showed up, we had this plan. We were going to have his name, like football, painted on our bodies. And we were going to be standing out because where his parking spot was.
What's his name?
His name was Dustin.
Did you have enough people?
Yeah, we were going to have a welcoming party. So we were going to have Dustin, and we were on the second floor of this building, right out at Islington and Dixon. Shout out to fucking Rexdale. And we were all going to line up. And then he called us about the cops and all this stuff. And we were all going to have Dustin. And he showed up. And it was the craziest. We did all the cocaine in about 2 weeks. And we didn't sell any of it. And none of us left. And I'm like, if you in culinary school, so like everyone's pretty crispy, like at that point you're just like, and it's pure cocaine, so you can like sleep on it.
To do pure cocaine?
It was so we broke off this little piece, and I could still remember it. Like I remember everybody that was there. I won't say their names because one of them works at the airport. So, but I remember, man, and he broke off a piece. And we took it, and it was like a rock, and he just took it and like hit it on the table, and just dust fell, and we made like fresh lines out of that, and we just did it, and we were like, it was a movie. It was like euphoric. It was like, this is a drug. See, this is a drug. The shit we're doing with laxatives and fucking stepped on 10 times, that's not a thing. This fresh cocaine, that's nice.
That's what it should be, and
that's
it should be legal.
Yes, pure cocaine. Legal.
It should be legal.
All drugs should be legal. Who gives a fuck?
All drugs
should be legal.
All drugs.
Drugs are perfect. Humans are the fuck ups.
But the problem is when you're getting something, they call it cocaine, and it's really a bunch of other shit
it's
like
baby
fentanyl.
Laxatives. Yeah, fentanyl, fucking baby. Most of the time I'm just shitting.
B12,
like if I look at a dollar bill, I'll take a shit. Like it's just like. Man, I can smell it. Like that's all.
Why do they put laxatives in it?
I don't know, because I think you can snort it and it like burns your nose, kind of like I don't know, because
is that what it
cocaine
is?
doesn't really burn your nose either. I don't fucking know, man. Yeah, it's just There we go. That's the big. Yeah, it's just white.
That's it, right?
It's just powder. It's the same consistency.
They put vitamins sometimes too, right? Yeah, they're assholes.
They're assholes.
And if you
They do
you can't
anything.
even test it, right? You can't.
No, because even if you want to like cook it and like take it and like fucking freebase it or anything, it just turns to glue most of the time. Or like even like you get like chunky, you can get like chunky shitty Coke, and like sometimes I would take like a plate, put it in the microwave and heat it up, and then you pour the Coke on there and it'll dry it out kind of and make it more crispier and nicer to sniff. This is too much information. This is a lot of people watch this, eh?
Yeah, there's a few.
Stop. My mom's going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Pure cocaine.
She's like, Maddie! She would be
why?
like, you're so sweet. You figured it out anyways. Joni's so sweet. Shout out to Joni. Love Joni. She's the best. Fucking ace.
A pound of cocaine would land you in jail for a long time.
I feel so, yeah.
Yeah, because they would assume that you're selling it,
They would. Not just doing it like a bunch of college students.
not just for personal use.
It's personal use.
But
They're
it's
like-
good that you didn't step on it. That's good. You maintain your integrity. You
Well,
didn't- better to
that's
use
the
it.
thing. Well, it's just like, because I wasn't a drug dealer, but it was like, I lived with a couple drug dealers. So, and then it was so good that we were just like, this is crazy. We
Yeah.
have like the supply. We're like, this will last us like a year. You know?
Yeah.
It lasted us literally 2 weeks. And then I get a phone call from my dean, my head chef, and he calls me, and I was just like, who's this number? And I answer it, and he was like, Maddie? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, this is Chef. And I was like, Chef? Chef who? Like, which chef? And he's like, whatever his name was. And I was just like, oh my God, Chef. Hey, how you doing? He's like, what's going on? You haven't been to school in fucking 2 weeks. And I was like,
We got a pound of coke.
yeah. And I kind of was just like, I'm mentally fragile right now, Chef. And I don't really have anything, no fucking real breakfast in me anymore. And I is there any way that I can just come back? I've had a rough little couple weeks. And, I like, how can I get back in the program? And he's just like, we really like you. You've done really well up until this point. He's like, come in and talk to us. I'm going to have all our chefs here and we're going to assess.
And you came in like Ray Liotta and Goodfellas looking for the helicopter.
Just like so, yeah. Imagine me like just fucking thinking I'm looking like real chill and professional. Just showed up, haven't showered in like 2 weeks. Just like, hey,
Bloodshot eyes, pale
what's going
skin,
on? Yeah, just like haven't been outside.
a sheen of sweat
Yeah.
over your whole body.
Oh, mamma mia. Man, I just smell like chemicals. I smell like bleach. I just smell like cum and bleach. Fucking so gross. And I walk in, all my chefs are there. And I was just like, and they're like, so what? Explain to us. And I was like, okay, here's the deal. We bought a pound of cocaine. They're like, excuse me? I was like, me and my roommates bought a pound of cocaine and we've done it all. It's all gone. And they're like, excuse me? And I was just like, chefs, I need to come back to work. My parents, I need to finish this program. And they're like, you are telling us that you, and how many people? And I was like, there's like a core group of 4. And then, sporadically up to maybe 7. We kept it tight. And they were like, Maddie? And I was like, chefs? And they're like, you're going to be a good chef one day. I was just like, what? And they're like, you don't lie to us. And I was just like, I'm not lying. And I was just like, they're
They
like,
thought you were lying?
oh yeah. They were just like, what are you talking about? And I was just like, well, okay, well, fuck it. Fuck it. And I was just like, well, I want to be a chef. I got the chef whites here. I'm fucking, how good, like, you could see me. I fucked up for 2 weeks. Like, let me back in. I'll rock. No questions asked. I'm like, because they lock the door at 7:45 a.m. So you have to be there at 7. You have to be a half hour early to like your fucking cooking class or they lock you out. And so they're like, okay, you miss 1 day, you're out. And then literally I was like, no problem. And they're like, we're going to let you back in. This is unheard of. And stop lying. Like, they were just like so sweet. And I was just like, and I had a good relationship with them. And I was like, it was like a very interesting cooking, situation. And I was just like, okay, like I'm in. I want to be a chef. Like, because they were like, do you want to be a chef? Because if you don't, like, fuck off.
Right.
And I was like, I want to be a chef. I want to go work in French restaurants. I want to, you know, I want to work on my skills. There's nothing else for me. This makes me feel happy. I am lucky that I have found something that I can do. I wasn't good at lacrosse. I wasn't good at skateboarding. I wasn't good at fucking anything. Now, I wasn't good at anything in high school. And now in college, I get fucking like 90s because I can fucking debone a quail and make a bordelaise. I can make hollandaise. I can make a stock. I'm not an idiot. I can hold the line. I don't fall during service.
And you enjoy it.
And I love it. Cooking is, I love it.
You can tell.
Dude,
That's
it's
one
the
of the
best.
things about your videos. It's very infectious.
I love
When people love what they're doing, it's very infectious.
well, because you can't. I'm not an act. Like the thing too is like I'm not an actor.
Right.
You know, like I'm like I don't know how to be anything but this. Like I'm just I'm this.
Yes.
You know, and I was just like I want to be a chef. I'm gonna be a chef, and they're like okay, and it was amazing because like literally I get back. You know, I'm like, I go back to school, you know, take a shower, brush my teeth, you know, get ready and shave my face. And then like 2 weeks later, it's almost like the end of the year too. And I just drop out to go on tour with like a metal band, with my buddy's like metal band. And I like drop out and then like my punk, because I was like, you know, I feel like I got caught by doing drugs, but then me being like punk, I was like, oh, my friend's like death metal band is touring Canada. They're like, do you want to come with us? I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I don't need a piece of paper. I don't need my diploma to say that I'm a chef. I learned everything. What I'm going to learn in the last 2 weeks of this course. And so I ended up actually dropping out. And I felt it's one of those things where I was just like, you know, I never talked to those chefs again. I never saw like who sees their college student, or, you know, who sees their teachers from college, really. And then years down the line, it's so incredible. My Chef Anthony, I'll say his first name, but Chef Anthony fucking hit me up on Facebook. He's this big Irish fucking red motherfucker. Big Michelin psychopath. And he was just like, he like Facebooked me or messaged me on Facebook when I still had like Facebook. And he was just like, I'm really proud of you. He's like, you have multiple restaurants, like you fucking pulled it out. This is incredible. He's like, I remember who you were. Mm-hmm. And he's like, to see your rise like in this city is like really incredible. He's like, there's no other chefs from your graduating class. Not that you graduated, but he's like, you're the one. He's like, just think of that. Like all of the chefs in that class, in that fucking whatever, that was, you know, whatever you call it, a class or whatever. There's like, you are the one. And I was just like, that's so crazy. He's like, there's no other chefs. He's like, you are the only chef from that program.
So no one else became a chef?
No, they all just go into the thing and they get burnt or they get pushed out or, you know, like it's a tough thing. It's tough. It's like, I'm a tough white belt. How long does it take to become a black belt? Not that I'm it is what like I'm more like of a business person now. Like I'm not like, technically I'm not the best chef, but I'm definitely like, I have that well-roundedness. Mm-hmm. I understand most great chefs are just great chefs. They're not great operators or they're not great business people. Mm-hmm. And a lot of chefs also aren't really like, they don't own the business, right?
It's kind of ironic. What made you big was not just your cooking skills, but it was this big personality. And this big personality, which was originally connected to drugs and partying. And then,
yeah,
you know, that kind of like got you in the door.
Yeah. Well, there wasn't many doors I couldn't walk through. You know, there wasn't many doors that I like. You know, I either kicked them down or I was welcomed with, you know, open arms. But it's still like.
It is interesting that no one else from the class made it.
Yeah, like, and I don't even mean that to, because I'm a firm believer of like going to school, and I think going to school taught me that I liked school. I hated high school. I didn't like math or science or gym or whatever, English.
You didn't like doing things you didn't like to do.
No, I was a very fuck you guy.
A lot of kids is that they don't find a thing. They think that they're never going to be good at anything because they're not good at school, because they're not interested in school. And then they find something they're interested in and they go, oh, that's not what it is. I'm not a loser. I just don't like what I'm doing.
And most people don't use the tools that you learned in high school. Like high school is mostly just a social experiment, you know, for like keeping kids away from their parents and like doing stuff and building social fucking, you know, awareness kind of.
Yeah.
But I think it's just like the amount of things that, I don't know, like I think the thing that clicked with with going to cooking school was I realized what self-esteem was. I never felt self-esteem like that before, where all of a sudden, if I showed up with my clean chef whites and I did what the chef said and I did my mise en place and I cooked a dish and I did everything to fucking the spec of what was put to me, I get a good grade. I was a 50 percentile student. I was always just, what do I have to do to pass?
Right.
I was very much like, and I was funny enough in high school that I could work with my teachers on what do I have to do to just get through this shit?
Right.
I'm not going to be a mathematician. I'm not going to be a teacher. I'm not going to be fucking anything that's going on in this fucking room, you know? And I think a lot of teachers even like were like, well, you know, I was one of those kids that they're like, okay, good luck with whatever the fuck you're going to be doing too, you know? Because I was a verbal, you know, I was like an asshole, or I wasn't afraid to say fuck you to somebody or be like, yeah, send me to the office. Okay, cool, thank you. Or like fight with my vice principals and like all that kind of stuff. Like I was like in the office every day, you know?
Yeah, like a fun person.
Yeah. I remember when I switched, because I got kicked out of my first high school for fighting, and my older brother was a fighter too, so they're like, we're not dealing with another Matheson. You got to get the fuck out of here. So then I went to a Catholic high school, and I remember like the first week, I walked during like morning prayer. I like was just like ba-ba-da, and just like walked out of the room because I saw like my homie walking down the hallway, and I was like, "Yo, what's up?" And I like just left during prayer, and I like the teacher like almost like choke slammed me, and I was just like, "What's happening?" And they're like, "It's morning prayer." And I was just like, no, I saw my butt. Like I was just like, and Catholic school was just another whole thing because I was like, I was brought up Mormon.
Really?
So I was brought Mormon.
Your family's Mormon?
Well, my family's Mormon, but we're all excommunicated.
What happened?
My dad got us all taken out of the thing. So it was just like, we were like deep. We were deep. And then when we moved provinces, the church wasn't good here in Ontario. So in Nova Scotia, big fellowship, Mormon world, you know? Then what my dad was like a high deacon or whatever the fuck it was, or like we always like sat next to like the bishop's family, like front row shit, because it's all like the families, whoever's like up on the stage or whatever, like the families sit in the front rows and shit. And so then when we moved to Ontario, I fucking, you know, like when we were about 12 or 13, right around like that time when we started all of a sudden doing like drugs and drinking is when we stopped going to the church. Because that's maybe a part of it too, right? Where like we were like, I never had a Coca-Cola. I never saw a PG rated movie. We only watched G-rated.
Really?
I never saw The Simpsons until I was, you know, like things like that. Like we were allowed.
So once you got excommunicated from the church, they just
Well, we took ourselves. My dad. I don't know if excommunicate is the right word.
left the church.
When we left the church, but because they have so much information on you and your family, like fucking family tree stuff, like it takes a long time to actually get your shit out of there.
What do you mean?
Like your info. Like I think they just have like a lot of information on you and your families, and they do a lot of ancestral stuff, right? So I think they do like a lot of, and you know, the pen, you got to give all, like even like I would get $2 a week for my allowance, and I'd have to give 10% to the church. So we would all, me and my brothers, we would have to take our nickels or whatever, our dimes,
Really?
and we'd have to give our 10% to the church.
Really?
Yeah. So that was training, like just think like that training of like giving the church the money from day one and all that kind of shit. So it was just like, and then, you know, my parents are like, they were young, and it's crazy. They were like the young couple that got knocked on, and my dad was like, come on in, like drink you want a beer?
God.
And all of a sudden my dad was just like, and it was one of those things where I'm like, why? You know, we were so like when I found that out later on, I was like, you literally just like somebody knocked on you let a missionary in here, you know, like where it's like so funny.
How old were you when you were asking him that question?
Like later, like in my 20s.
Yeah.
Like when I had like some balls to like, you know, dads are so
Right.
scary. So I was just like, you know, like
Why?
when Huh?
Yeah, just why? You're asking him why.
Yeah, just like like where I
Yeah.
was just like, you know, like he would come visit me in college, and we'd go
Right.
have like lunch. You know, my dad would drive up to the city, and you know, having those father-son kind of conversations, like, hey, like this was kind of crazy back then, or like, why was this, or like, you know,
Right.
like why, you know, why were we never allowed to like sleep over at other kids' houses, or like,
Right.
you know, like things like little small things that I don't think are, you know, crazy, but I think it's definitely like one of those things that like, you know, never having like a Coca-Cola, and then all of a sudden I'm like doing acid. You know, I'm all gas. You know, like it's just like I was like, oh cool, we're not Mormons anymore. Let's do some blotter acid.
Sometimes that's what triggers it, right? Is the repression. There's so much repression, and then all of a sudden they take the reins off you.
Well, and the idea of heaven, just like at a young age, I strongly felt like there was no heaven. And I strongly felt, I didn't believe it from a young age because I also, and there's 3 levels of heaven in the Book of Mormon, right? There's like the celestial, the fucking whatever, and the whatever. So
Yeah?
I was just like,
You guys have 3 levels of heaven?
there's like 3 levels of heaven. So
There's
then
tiers.
There's tiers, right? So the thing that I was a klepto. As a kid, I would like walk into like, a little store and like grab a little thing. Like I remember I stole a jackknife once from like this like, hardware store. Like I would just like take things, a little klepto. And in my head, at a very young age, I was like, I'm never going to be eternal with my parents. At a very young age, I was like, my parents are like, they did the whole thing with the underwear and they're married forever and like fucking
underwear is wild.
I think they had to give it back or they had to get rid of it. I don't fucking know. I don't know. Let's FaceTime Steve and be like, what the fuck?
So
did you have to give the underwear back, Dad?
I still don't understand. Like they have information on you. Like, why does that make it hard to leave? Because they tell you, hey, we know things about you. Like what?
No, I don't think it's like weird like that kind of stuff. I
like
just think it was
you're so
like just to
connected.
get our shit out, to be like stricken of the books.
Right, so you don't have to pay them every week, and
You don't have to. Pence are just like or I think it's called Pence, but I think it's like once again, there's probably a lot of Mormons watching this that are being like, Matty doesn't know shit, and I don't know shit. Okay, I don't know shit. I just lived it.
Right.
But I just think it is. I remember it was just one of those things where. I remember my dad and my sister, it was crazy because she had a child out of wedlock. She's going to love that I say this. But she had like a child out of wedlock. And so that was like a thing where I think it was like, I don't even know. I think there was like a thing where she got like a piece of paper saying she had to go in front of like a tribunal.
Oh boy.
And like, explain herself, or maybe she was getting excommunicated. I still forget. It's kind of fuzzy. But I think it was like one of those things where I remember when the missionaries showed up and it was almost like they served her like papers or some shit. And I remember my older brother almost like beat the shit out of these missionaries. Was like, get the fuck out of, one of those kind of things. Like, get off our porch, get the fuck out of here.
Serving you papers, you violated.
I don't know.
You let the
Religion's
penis go in your
fucked.
body.
Like that's the thing is like I don't like a lot of.
Well, that is the wackiest religion.
It's the wackiest, right?
Yeah,
I know.
because
Of course,
they
I'm a
know
part
that
of it.
It's like other than Scientology,
I was baptized.
It's the wackiest one.
It's the wackiest one, right?
They know the guy who made it up, and he was a
We used
con man.
We used to go to the hill where he found the Book of Mormon, and they used to redo the event, and we would visit the jail where he was like murdered.
How old was he when they killed him?
In his 20s.
Isn't that wild?
John
He
Smith,
invented
right?
it-
John Smith.
Joseph.
Joseph Smith.
He
yeah.
invented it when he was 14 years old.
Let's go. That's
Imagine-
incredible. That's
Not
like
only that-
now. That's like a TikToker. You know, everyone just follows TikTok. Same shit.
Well, I just can't imagine a 14-year-old that's not full of shit.
Yeah.
Like a 14-year-old that tells you a story like that, and everybody's like, wow.
He's like, let's
really?
go.
You met angels?
What are they
Wow.
like? They were beautiful?
You have golden tablets
I love a golden tablet.
with the lost work of Jesus?
Oh, Jesus.
There was a guy that was
Angels. I love an angel.
a Mormon. He was higher up in the church, and he was a wealthy Mormon guy. And he decided he was going to do, this is back before 23andMe, like way back in the day. He was going to sequence the DNA of Native Americans to prove they were the lost tribe of Israel.
Yes.
To prove that the Book of Mormon was correct. Turns out, no.
No, false.
Yeah, it turns out they're from Siberia.
Really?
Yeah.
Full circle.
Well, it's
When
like
when the world was all together.
Well, they always thought that, scientists and archaeologists thought that people came down from the Bering Strait, the Bering landmass. But there was also people that lived here as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of confusion about that. They're not really exactly sure. They think for sure some people came here by boat, but they don't know when. They don't know how long ago.
The Anglos.
No, not even the Anglos, man. There was
Before the
Pacific
Anglos.
Islanders were traveling thousands of years ago.
Right.
And they think maybe some of them made it here. And they think that for sure some people came across the Bering landmass. And they think, that some people might have come up from South America, like the Olmecs and, and all. They don't know.
They don't know.
They don't know how long people have been here. There's a lot of guessing.
There is. I
can
appreciate
prove-
the guessing.
They can prove like there was a guy, what is it, Kennewick Man?
Kennewick Man.
Is that it? There was a guy that they found. They found a body that had a spear tip or an
Wow.
arrowhead
Like in his bone?
in the bones, like fused into the bone. And so they knew that this guy had been killed there,
Right.
and they knew that he'd been killed by I think it was a Clovis point.
Wow.
But I think they carbon dated his body back to like 5,000 plus years ago, and so they're like trying to figure out like was this? And, that was the thing about this. Okay, this is where I heard about this. This was on the Meat Eater podcast, Steve Rinella podcast,
Right.
And they had thought that he was an Anglo-Saxon. They thought that he was a white man based on his bone structure,
Right.
which is nonsense.
Right, yeah.
Like it doesn't work like that.
Bones.
And so as they, started to do some examinations on his DNA, they found out no, he was in fact of Native American ancestry. But they don't know. They really don't know like when people got here. There's a lot of guessing. Until they find. That's what happens with paleontology. Like they'll find an old bone and they'll go, well, here's a human bone. Now we push it back to 12,600 years. Okay, we found a new
Right.
one. Now we push it back to 14,000 years.
I love that.
Yeah.
What's it like?
It's wild shit.
It is wild shit. Do you think they're gonna know when they come? What's going on with the aliens?
Well,
Let me fill me in. Okay. Mm-hmm. I want to know because I have a funny story about aliens.
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
Okay. On my wedding day, it was incredible. We found this. We had all those like lanterns, and we had a bunch of people, and we lit them on fire, and we put up the orbs, right, and they float. About 2 weeks after our wedding, there's this viral video in Canada of an alien invasion, and it's this little group of people. Maybe they're in trailers, maybe they're not.
maybe they're on meth.
Maybe, and they are freaking out of the invasion that's happening right now. And there's video, and it's like, come on, there's more. And it's literally like, 20 miles down the road from where we were.
Right.
And
so it's your stuff just
Vice
floating
wrote an
away.
article about it. Like all this stuff was happening about this alien invasion in this video. And I had to be like, I emailed like the editor and I was just like, hey, I honestly think that this is from my wedding. And it was like this incredible like thing where, and they took it down on their Facebook because it went viral. It was like this huge thing where people were like, what is this? Like, what are all these orbs? Like they're
Right.
floating over. And it was like this incredible thing where we were like, and forever, like, our family is just like, remember the aliens that came to your wedding and floated down the... Because you just put them up. It's just like lighting trash on fire and letting it go.
Are they, it's just like a candle inside
Yeah,
of it?
it's like one of those like little like tea light things.
And the heat from the
thing,
candle
and it's just like this
makes them
orb,
float.
but
Yeah.
they float forever. And we were on the water. We were in like Port Dover, and so it blew it down the fucking... It just like the
Now,
wind
there's
picked
no
it up.
danger of that causing a forest fire?
No,
No?
never.
But it's a candle that's floating
Yeah.
to anywhere.
Yeah.
Like a bundle of pine needles.
No, there's no bundle of pine needles in Canada. It's all wet. We're moistured. We're well moistured.
All the time?
Yeah, all the time.
But you have fires up there. You do have fires up there.
Some places, like up north, kind of, but not really.
Oh, okay.
Nothing
So
to
it's-
like really speak.
so it's
It's
safe
not
enough.
a problem.
Okay.
Yeah, we can, bunch of white privileged losers setting fire bombs up into the sky. Yeah, no problem. But but aliens, I'm interested. I'm genuinely, because I'm like, obviously there's like, it's ignorant, right? To think that there isn't stuff out there. Or am
Isn't
I crazy?
there something that's happening very soon? Isn't the Pentagon releasing something? Didn't they have some sort of a press release scheduled?
The 180-day thing?
No, there's something that's scheduled very soon that Jeremy Corbell was discussing because they just released. Excuse me. I got a cough button now. Watch.
It actually says cough.
Yes, it's real, which is great because I used to cough. I used to clear my throat into the mic, and people got super annoyed. But there's been quite a few sightings that they've confirmed, that the Pentagon's confirmed, the Navy's confirmed. They're like, this is
Why not?
real footage. We don't know what the fuck it is. We have no idea. Did you see the pyramids? There's these floating pyramids, floating things.
I haven't seen it.
This was a recent one. There's a cluster of them, but
Cluster
there's
of
3 of
pyramids.
them that they got on video. They're floating above this installation. They have no idea what the fuck they are.
Incredible.
They don't know how they're operating. They don't know what they are.
So you're thinking like, if we can't handle COVID, we're going to do really good against the aliens?
Well, that's what we're built for. We're built for extraterrestrial problems. No, we're fucked, man. There's no way we're gonna handle it.
We're feeble, right? Or we're fragile? We're fragile. We're bags of milk.
We're not just fragile physically. More importantly, we're fragile in terms of our ability to overcome adversity, our ability to handle things and keep our composure. Look, a bad cold, which is essentially what coronavirus is, it's a terrible cold.
Kills a lot of people, but yeah.
It killed people. It really exposed people's health problems more than anything.
Right.
That was the average person that died from COVID had 2.6 comorbidities. Okay. So that means more than 2.5 other problems, whether it's heart disease, cancer, and then COVID, and then COVID killed them.
Right.
But that's it's not that. It's not that we have a hard time with that. It's just that we fell apart in terms of the way we communicate with each other. Like people went into a panic. You know, people started attacking people and becoming way more negative online, and also their identity and their time was way more wrapped up in having these Twitter battles.
Yeah,
people
lots
were
of Twitters.
Twitter battling with each other
It's a lot.
rather than like trying to establish some sense of community, getting your life in order, getting your health in order, and using this time. Like some people, like Action Bronson, use this time to lose 130 pounds and become a fitness fanatic. You know, and some people use this time like you did to build your businesses up. And some people didn't do shit. Yeah. And some people just freaked out.
Hit the internet.
And some people just
paralyzed.
They got more and more fearful and more paranoid and more angry and more aggressive. And it's just weird. And I think if something like the aliens came, the only good thing that would come out of it is we would realize how foolish a lot of the arguments, a lot of the anger that we have.
Well, it all goes away once the big dogs come down.
Yes.
All of a sudden, if all of a sudden they roll up. Will Smith is Will Smith here to help us?
I don't think. I think Will needs his own help. He needs help. He needs help.
He's good at content. Is he making a lot of? I feel he makes a lot of content.
I bet he's making content right now. But our real problem is that we don't know how to think, and we don't know how to talk, and we don't know how to communicate. And so many people are just dumb and lazy.
Right.
And they're hoping that someone else is going to clean up the mess. They're hoping that someone else is going to come along. And then there's the reality of just getting hundreds of millions of people fed and heat and air conditioning.
Dude, if it snows, look what happens.
Yeah, well, here, yeah.
You know, like it is one of those things where we're just not prepared for whatever. Like we're so used to being in our own, worlds.
We have a narrow window that we can operate in, and anything that goes outside of that narrow window, we fall apart.
Do you think like laser weaponry would help us, or do you think bullets would nothing will help us?
This is gonna be like us showing up in tanks and dealing with chimps.
Right.
Like what are chimps gonna do? We roll up in tanks. They're gonna do shit.
No.
They're not gonna do a goddamn thing.
They just go like this.
That's gonna be what it's like if they come here. If they decide.
Do you think they like us?
Pentagon
they acknowledge
UFO
the
report,
reality whistleblower
They acknowledge
says.
the reality whistleblower says. Luis Elizondo on Blockbuster documents on UFOs. Yeah. This is show the video of the fucking see if you.
What is it? Is this the pyramids?
Yeah, these are these things that are flying in the sky. Yeah, they're flying. You see, there's 3 of them. They were flying, and these guys filmed it. There was what was it over? It was over something. It was some Navy footage, but they're using night vision. They're filming it through a cell phone. They have no idea what these things are, and they're just floating and flying around through. They're obviously controlled. They have some sort of they're piloted, or
but even
a
like
drone
things like
or
this,
something.
like this is like. That should be triggering to some extent of like what's going on. Like I'm sure they've been like preparing some kind of like.
They don't know what to do.
They don't know what to do.
This is the reality of it. If you talk to anybody that's actually in the government, they'll tell you.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do.
They're like,
because these things are moving. I interviewed this guy who has the most compelling story. His name is Commander David Fravor.
Right.
And he was in 2004, which was 80 years ago, right?
Right.
No?
That's
my math?
No, 76.
2004 was off the coast of San
That's 4 years ago.
It was off the coast of San Diego. And he encountered this thing. They saw this thing that it looked like there was a ship underwater. And so as they closed in on this, they saw this thing that was about the size of this room, like 20 feet, 30 feet long, something like that. And it was shaped like a Tic Tac. And it was somehow intelligently controlled. It faced them, and it blocked their radar, which is technically an act of war.
Right.
And then it moved off at such an insane rate of speed that they couldn't watch it. And then it went to they had an established destination point that they were eventually going to go to that was 30 miles away. And then this Tic Tac thing flew to that spot.
So they took their information.
Yeah.
Was like, you're going here, I go there.
It went directly there, but it got there in a second. 30 miles away. It went from 80,000 feet above sea level to 1 foot in less than a second. They have no idea how fast because the radar blips like 1 second.
Yeah.
In that time, it went from 80,000 feet to 1 feet above sea level. They don't know
so
what it is.
There's so many different UFOs,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I think this is a place where they go.
They're
But I
like,
used
what's
to
going
do
on
a
down here
joke-
with these idiots?
I used to do a joke that I think Earth is the Tijuana of outer space.
Right.
I think they come here
They
when
wanna
they're
see-
fucked up and they want to see a show. They're like, what are those crazy pink monkeys with bang sticks up to?
Yeah, yes,
And they come
yes.
down here and they watch us be stupid.
They love it. They're like, wait, give
Yeah.
them social media. Give them social media.
I think they're probably aware that we're on the verge of destroying Earth. We could, at any given moment, with the wrong set of decisions and the wrong set of circumstances, we could blow up the Earth.
Yeah, we shouldn't blow up the Earth. The Earth is great.
It's a pretty fucking awesome spot.
It's a great spot. We got to stop some things. You
There's
know?
also-
we need a lot of people to do small little things.
There's also the wackiest theory. The
Okay, what's the
wackiest theory
wackiest?
is that we are the product of accelerated evolution.
Right.
That's the wackiest theory.
Okay.
As they came down here, with whether it's Australopithecus or some of the lower primates,
Right.
and they intervened and did some genetic experiments and created us.
Right.
Now, one of the reasons why that's so interesting is
Right.
because scientists recently just came out and admitted that they've made human monkey hybrid embryos.
Yes.
So these are real things that
Perfect.
they've done. And they said they did it under the guise of harvesting organs because we
Okay.
need organs. So they're going to make these human
Just
monkey
organ donors.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like KFC making chickens with like 5 legs.
Yeah, but if you're going to have an organ that a grown adult can use, you got to make a grown adult. That means you got to make a grown adult monkey human hybrid so that you could take its liver out. And you're like, what?
That's one. This seems like a lot for a liver.
I don't know how else
Doesn't
to
it cost
do
like $100,000 to break your arm in like America? Like what? Like how
it's
much is that
very-
liver? How much is the
It's
super
quite
monkey?
expensive, but that's maybe they can make it cheaper if they have a lot of hybrid monkey people. But the thing
Yes.
is, like, what if this thing gets out? Like, what if it's a human? What if it
It'll
gets
come-
out like a
it'll eat
lab
us.
leak? What if it gets a gun? And what
Yes.
if these monkey human hybrids go straight Planet of the Apes on us? Like the idea of us interfering with lower animals sounds arrogant and crazy. So when we think about someone doing that to us, like an animal, like some being from another planet coming down here and introducing its DNA into ours, into what we used to be,
Right.
into lower primates, and creating a person, sounds so arrogant and crazy.
Yeah.
But then you think of what we're actually doing.
Yeah.
With
We're
humans
doing that.
and monkeys.
Why aren't we? We're doing that.
So-
Clonage.
That is the oldest theory
Right.
about the missing link with human beings. It's
They're
the
just like
oldest
somebody
theory.
came down, put a needle in.
Yeah. In fact, that was like one of the big theories that this guy Zecharia Sitchin used to write about. Zecharia Sitchin is a guy who wrote a bunch of books on the Sumerian text.
Right.
And the Sumerian text is the oldest known, it's cuneiform. It's some of the oldest known written language, and it's really fascinating shit because they had the double helix of DNA.
Right.
They drew that in their depictions for medicine. It represents. You ever seen that? The thing when they have the two snakes that that
The medical
represents
thing?
medicine.
Yeah.
He believed that was representing the double helix
Of
of,
the
DNA.
DNA.
And there's images of that in a lot of their ancient stuff. There's images of these gigantic beings that are holding these weird little monkey people on their
Okay.
lap. And he thinks
There's a lot of evidence.
well, it's not evidence. It's just
stuff.
drawings.
Right,
of-
okay.
it could have been just someone making a comic book
Right.
6,000 years ago. But it could be they were trying to tell a story. And they also had a detailed depiction of the solar system with all of this is 6,000 years ago, right? When
Right.
a lot of people thought the world was flat. They had it, and they do today too, some people.
I enjoy watching people explain that stuff.
That's amazing. But they had a detailed depiction of the solar system 6,000 years ago with the sun and all the planets, including Pluto. And we didn't
Right.
know about Pluto until 1930,
Wow.
right? Somewhere around then.
they
So
knew
you-
Pluto. They're like, Pluto's our guy.
They drew it. They had a depiction of all the planets: Jupiter, Mars, Saturn, Venus. They had, you can see it. See if you find
the original.
depictions of so what they think, what this guy Zecharia Sitchin and his believers think, is that they were trying to tell this story of how some beings came from another planet, manipulated human DNA, and look at that.
Look at that.
That's pretty wild. So this is from, there's the sun and there's all the planets, and that one planet all the way over to the right in between them, they think that is this planet that they all came from. It's called Nibiru. And their story, again, this is Zecharia Sitchin's story, is that Nibiru was on an elliptical orbit, and every 3,600 years it would come near Earth, and they would come around and hop off and see what the fuck we're up to, and then go back out. See if you could find the depiction of ancient Sumerians with monkey people hybrid. Because there's these weird clay tablets that show this like godlike creature with this little human type person with a tail. But the person has a tail.
Oh. Which one? That's an animal.
That's a good question. There's
so many.
They had a lot of wild shit.
They got so many things.
And, it's hard. What is that?
That's a good one.
Fucking
See,
cool.
you need that. That's something you could have.
I don't think that's from Sumer. But it's fucking cool, whatever it is. Find out what that is, and let's get that for the studio.
Look at that. There's a better one.
Bro, look at that thing.
Where's that from? Ancient Aliens.
Wow, that's fucking killer.
That is
that other one,
Anunnaki.
though. What is that one right there? That's the one I need for the studio. What is that?
It almost looks like it's just a 3D a computer image, like, you know.
I don't think it is. I think it's a sculpture, an actual sculpture. Get a bookmark of it. Here's a better idea. Get a bookmark of that and take that
3D print
image
it.
and make it a photo on metal and put it in the studio, right?
Yeah, but
Come on, son. Yeah, but the actual thing's probably 7,000 years old. We'd have to steal it.
We'd have to steal it.
we'd have to
We
hire-
have the technology. We have the technology.
We'd have to hire Daniel Craig to sneak in through the ceiling.
Daniel Craig. Oh my goodness, I love Daniel Craig. He's in good shape.
He's in very good shape. He's the best James Bond of all time. Agreed?
I believe so.
Come on. There's no belief.
Well, I think he's the only one that seems. Well, Connery. No, Connery's no good.
No,
I think he's the best one. Where
Connery
he's like
was great
he's the realist
for back then, but it's like when Elvis was doing karate.
Yeah,
it's like okay,
yeah,
you know, it's like okay.
I think Daniel Craig is the realist. Who's the new
100%.
one? Who's the new one?
They don't know yet.
They don't know. Someone said Daniel Radcliffe, the Harry
Maybe.
Potter. Harry Potter is.
Oh, that would be horrible.
That's fake news. But
Yeah,
I
mean, not
think
that he's horrible, but it's like that can't be after Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig looks like a straight up killer. Like you believe that he was an assassin.
But that's the thing. 007 has to be able to kill.
Yes,
You have to be. He has to
especially
be.
in this modern age. You need
I want to go
things
into
to
a
be
casino
believable.
and like a magic door,
Yes.
beautiful women.
Talk to me.
You know, like a guy with the tinfoil teeth and the hat,
Hell
weapon,
yeah.
bladed hat.
That's what's up. Yeah.
Imagine being a secret agent. Are you a secret agent?
No. That seems like a lot of work, and it would be really
a lot of
annoying, and you'd hardly sleep.
There's no sleep.
Then you'd have to be on sleep meds, and those aren't really good for you.
Get a body pillow. Travel with a body pillow just to sleep well.
How about those ones where your arm goes in a tunnel?
Oh, I need an arm tunnel. just like
It's
cocoon.
supposed to. You
Just
know,
like
you seen those things?
No, I need one. I
Yeah.
sleep like
It's like
I feel
you're-
I sleep like that.
Cuddling with someone, because it's like it's the idea is that it protects your shoulder.
Oh, that's
somehow,
good.
so your
Because
arm
you
goes on
sleep.
a
Do you
thing
sleep like that? How do you sleep?
I just sleep.
You sleep? Do you sleep just on
lay
your
down.
back? You
No,
lay
I
down.
don't lay on my side.
Your side sleeper.
Yeah, I get sleep apnea if I sleep on my back. Yeah, I snore.
How many
in a
times have you
horrible way.
had your nose broken?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, lots
yeah,
of
but I've
times.
had it fixed.
You've had it fixed.
Yeah, works great. but
breathing.
not until I was 40.
Right.
When I was younger, I mean, I broke it so many times it was basically useless. But then when I got it fixed, it was like the world changed for me.
Yeah.
I tell everybody, if you have a deviated septum, if your
Get
nose
it
is fucked
fixed.
up, oh my God, get it fixed.
My nose is good,
All that coke cleaned it out.
and
Probably
I didn't.
helped.
I didn't burn through it somehow.
That's amazing.
Breath work is important, right?
Oh yeah.
You know Brian McKenzie? Do you know him?
No, I don't.
Breath? Brian
You got
McKenzie?
something?
He's a breath guy. What do you
say
got,
something?
Jamie?
Oh,
Jamie.
I thought you said something.
I was like,
trying to find that monkey person thing.
I think it's a depiction of the Monkey King from Bali.
No.
Oh.
I know that one too. It's look
I
for.
found a different one that looked similar but different, and then that says.
Oh, that's pretty.
is.
Look at that
is
with the
pretty.
moss?
That Monkey King is fucking dope as shit. But it's not
That's
that.
it.
That's a
the
different
Monkey
thing.
King's tight.
Fuck, that Monkey King is badass. What's that one in the lower
got
right hand
nothing like
corner
that in
with the
Canada.
red? The lower right? Yeah. Oh wow.
There we go. There
That's
we go.
a Monkey King mask. That's pretty tight. No, that's not. It is Anunnaki.
Oh yeah. So
Just
I'm
Google.
going down the other path. I was trying to find out what this thing was.
Oh, okay.
I found a different picture, but it's also said it was like an Anunnaki monkey hybrid. It just
Oh.
Yeah. No.
No.
That looks very modern to me. If you can just Google clay tablet Anunnaki with monkey.
So this website took me.
Pinterest? Does Pinterest search it?
Just Google
Let's look
clay
at how
tablet
to retile your kitchen on Pinterest.
Sumerian tablet. Right. Sumerian tablet Anunnaki.
This site has a ton of information about this.
Oh yeah.
Let's save it.
Oh, what is this site?
Ancient astronauts. Wow, let's go.
This Africa is woke.
But it's with a K and it's like a bunch of Anunnaki stuff.
Oh, okay.
This is how I got to that one thing.
Anunnaki, ancient Mesopotamia.
Mesopotamia?
Yeah.
Mesopotamia seems nice.
There's just a bunch of articles though, so that's why I
Okay.
went down the wrong hole here.
If I could go, if you can go back in time anywhere, any place, and see what it was like to live back then, where would you go?
Joe? Oh, that's a good question. I would love, I don't know. I'm always so fixated on like Braveheart and like Highlander and just like the Claymore shit and just being like, I just want to be like, I want to paint my face, wear a kilt and like chuck a Claymore at somebody, you know, and just be like, live in the mud.
Freedom!
Yeah, just run around.
Yeah.
And just like run around the Highlands. I think like that kind of stuff would be interesting. And I'm like, I want to just like get my friends together and we're just like, we're gonna fight the British. We're gonna free our country. Maybe that kind of stuff. Where it seems simpler, like that kind of war seems like simple. You know, a battle's like every 6 months.
Yeah.
You gotta walk, 1,000 miles, and you just chill out and relax. And then you're like, okay, there's 300 of us, 400 or 500 of us. We're gonna fight 1,000 of you. You guys got more arrows, but we're gonna run. We can run fast.
You got it planned out.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go back to Braveheart. I'm pretty much. I'm just like Braveheart.
Yeah, Braveheart days.
I don't know. I think that would be like, why not? Like, we have all the technology in the world. Let's go back to like what was the world just before Facebook?
Yeah.
Where would you go? Where would you?
I think I would go to one or two things. Either I would go ancient Egypt and see what it was like when they were building the pyramids. Like, what was civilization like? Because we lost so much of that when they
and
burned
like the Aztec stuff.
Yeah, well, the Mayans. I would definitely go and the Aztecs. I would check that out. But people were there and they have some pretty detailed depictions of those people back then. Like when Cortez came and the Spaniards came and.
Yeah.
I would go to. I think if I had to choose one, it would be ancient Egypt. But if I had to choose another one, I think I might want to be. I might want to see what it was like when the settlers first encountered the Native Americans when they were making their way across North America.
Yeah.
Like when they first got to Texas and they met the Comanche.
Right.
I would love to see what it was like back then.
Yeah.
These people are just riding around on horseback shooting buffalo, and then all of a sudden these pale-faced motherfuckers show up. Like, what was that like?
What the fuck?
What was the first encounters like between these
Did you love
settlers?
Hostiles? That movie Hostiles?
What was that? I didn't see it, I don't think.
No?
No, it wasn't that.
It's
Recent?
Yeah, dude, it's amazing. It's like it's about like two adversaries, kind of like one chief is going to be brought back to his.
When was this? What year is this?
Dude, 2017.
No
dude.
shit, Christian Bale.
Oh yeah, dude, this movie is incredible. So West Studi here. He's like, some like iconic warrior, and then versus, Christian Bale's character, and it's about them he has cancer, so the chief has cancer.
Oh wow.
And it's about being like, I'm gonna die anyways. I have no fight left. I want to just be on my land when I die. I want to die in my home.
And that woman's in it. What's her name? Rosamund Pike.
She's really good too. She's from like Gone Girl.
She's great
or not
in
Gone
everything.
Girl.
Yeah, Gone Girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was also in I Care a Lot.
Yeah.
Did you see I Care a Lot?
No.
Fucking crazy.
What's the
movie.
one with the Ben Affleck movie too? She's the one who kills him.
Yeah, Gone Girl.
Okay. Yes.
She doesn't kill him, right? No.
She
kills,
fucks with him.
Kills a bunch of other people.
Yeah, she's good in that.
She's crazy
Psychopath.
as fuck. Yeah, she's full on psycho.
She's like the new
Doesn't know
Sharon
what to
Stone.
do. Yeah, but like more intense.
More intense.
Yeah, she's in I Care a Lot, and she plays a psycho in that movie too. She plays a great psycho.
This movie, she's crushed because her family gets murdered. They get murdered by some Native Americans, and then they find her when they're bringing back the chief. They come across her, who's like shook, holding her like shot baby still.
Oh, Jesus
it's so heavy,
Christ.
but that movie is like just slow rolling. Like it's two old kind of warriors coming to terms and like fighting the war at the end, but they have to return. Like one warrior has to return this chief to, or a soldier, I shouldn't say war, but like a soldier returning a chief to his land that they just had this great war, the horrible fucking war. But it's just like, it's a great movie.
Hostiles.
Because I know that you're really into all that.
Yeah, I'm into Native American stuff. Yeah. I'm just into ancient civilizations. I'm into ancient Egypt. I'm ancient Africa.
Those people would hate us, right?
Yeah, they wouldn't.
Those ancient, like Egypt
"You
would be like,
fucking slobs.
you losers.
Like, what are you idiots doing? You shitting all over the place and ruining the earth, and
They're not doing good.
Everywhere you go,
Eat vegetables.
polluting.
Just make gold necklaces and have nice times.
Yeah, I don't know. I just would have loved to have seen what their culture was like, because we just guess about that. Thousands and thousands of years ago, making these insane structures that still hold up today.
Yeah, just hundreds of thousands of people just building these pyramids,
how?
pulling the stones. Stonehenge. Where did they come from? Where did they come from?
Stonehenge is crazy, but it's not as crazy.
No.
Like what? Like
That's just a couple rocks.
The Great Pyramid of Giza has 2,300,000 stones.
Oh. And they didn't come from there.
Some of them were from hundreds of miles away. The ones inside the King's Chamber, they're huge.
Have you been to the pyramids?
No.
You've never been to the
No,
pyramids?
the closest I've been to is I've seen the Mayan temples at Chichen Itza. That was pretty fucking wild. That's pretty wild. Like you just imagine what it was like just being around these structures when they were filled with people. These people running this,
navigating that life back then, like in that space.
Yeah, they were living in this society where their buildings were aligned to constellations. Like they were so tuned into the stars that they.
Well, that's how they had.
Yeah.
There was Earth and then the sky, right?
Well, the sky must have been magnificent.
You could
back
see
then,
everything.
too.
There was no light.
Yeah.
There was no light. You could see everything. The canvas was there.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something.
Okay.
Where was like the scariest place? Where did you feel like in the world traveling around? Where was the place where you were like the most scared? For a person who can take care of himself, like where was a place like where you were traveling like this is sketchy. This is like a place where I'm like shit, like like where was the place where you felt most scared?
Well, the scariest place is always the woods.
Yeah.
Because you're so vulnerable. Like, if you encounter a bear or a mountain lion or, that's the scariest.
Yeah.
But it's also in some ways like the most humbling and peaceful and enchanting, right? There's something about the purity of nature where nature doesn't give a fuck what your plans are.
No.
Like when you're out there on a mountaintop and you're out looking out, part of what's amazing about it is the humbling of yourself that comes about. You gain this intense humility because you're around this inescapable beauty.
Yeah.
And also the vast expanse of ground and the mountains and then you're looking out there and these elk are fighting to the death and the mountain lion's waiting to jack them and then a bear's waiting to scare the mountain lion off the catch and
it's too much. It's scary.
It's why you feel so vulnerable.
Yeah.
But it's also ironically the most beautiful and like the most
Have you
welcoming.
gone? Have you hunted alone? Like, have you done the thing where you're like, I'm gonna go out there alone and like do like a weekend?
No, I've never done that.
No.
I've
Is
never-
that Crazy Town?
That's Crazy Town. I have a bunch of friends who do it all the time. Like my buddy Shane Dorian, he's a big wave surfer. He loves going on those solo hunts.
He'll just go on, like, pack his shit, go in.
He brings a satellite phone in case he breaks his leg.
Right.
And then he'll go out there, and then that's something you really have to think about. You
He's
break
out
your leg
there.
in the woods, you're fucking dead.
Oh my God.
And if they can't find you by the time your phone runs out of battery, you're dead.
You're gone.
You're dead.
You're not getting out.
No, you're dead.
You're dead.
And something's going to eat you.
Yeah.
And now they're reintroducing wolves into places like Colorado and
Get them
Montana.
back in there. Let's
and-
bring them back.
And so then you're dead even quicker.
Yeah, the wolves
'cause
scare
the wolves
me.
will get
We got
ya.
lots of coyotes. We have big coyotes where I am, and they're like, it's not like LA coyotes. These are like big, like
They're eating moose and shit.
they're eating some mooses and some deers. Like the other day, we found like a whole carcass, like a half-eaten carcass of like a whole deer in our front yard. So we got, whatever, a couple acres.
Yeah.
And we got about 6 acres of like forest on our property, attached to other people's forests and stuff like that. And there's so many. It was incredible. Like Mac was just like running around our front yard. It was like started like screaming like, wow, check this out. Like he was so stoked. He was like, check this out. He's like, can I touch it? I was like, whoa, what's going on? And then all of a sudden as I got closer, I was like, no, don't touch this yet. I was just like, do not touch this. And it was just like a fucking. And we didn't hear anything or anything. We just like it was just like. They ate. It was incredible. Like they still hadn't eaten one of the legs, and it was so weird because it was still snowy out too. So this is like, about a month ago when there was still snow, and it was crazy because I'm watching, looking at the the half-eaten deer, and I'm like, there's no blood anywhere, and then I was just like, where was this taken down? And then so now I was like, Mac, we got to find like the blood. He's like, what's the blood? I was like, well, when animals are eaten or when we cut ourselves or whatever, even like when you get a paper cut, the blood that comes out. He's like, yeah. I was like, well, when this was eaten by the coyotes, there'd be a lot of blood somewhere. So there's gonna be a lot of blood on the snow. So let's walk around the property. And so we were like walking around, and it was like my daughter, my wife, and my son, and we're just like cruising around. And then Trish was the first. She's like, "It's over here!" And then there's just like all the fur, all the blood. And Mac was so interested. It's so crazy. He's 5, and he's so obsessed with eyes and if people are alive or dead. Like if he was to meet you, he's like, "Are you alive?" And you're just like, "Oh, I'm alive." But he's like, "Have you ever died?" and it's just like he's so like kids are so funny with the shit that they say, and he'll just be like. He's like, let me see your eyes. He's like, you got a lot of blood in your... Because he's obsessed with, like, these blood vessels. Oh, yeah. Like, he'll always be like, take a closer... You can just keep zooming in on your phone. Yeah. He's like, I'll zoom in on his eyes, and he's like, let me look. And he's like, ooh. And he just, like, loves... Like, it's so weird what kids love and what they're interested in.
It's so interesting
and, like,
them learning things, too, right?
Well, the thing, too, is, like, we're bringing them up... It's funny, because, like, my wife is Italian, Irish, right? And so her mother, very religious, And none of our kids are baptized. We're not bringing them up with any kind of religion whatsoever. And it's an interesting thing because, like, he'll watch, like, TV shows and they'll mention, like, things about God. Or I'll say, like, oh, my God, or whatever. I'll say things like that. And he's just like, what is all that? And I was just like, well, some people believe in that there's, like, a higher power and, like, there's, like, a soul and there's all these kind of things. And I was just like... it's an interesting thing to talk to like young kids about that because they really soak it up, right? And I'm just like learning like not to talk too much about some stuff, but the Trisha, she loves talking about everything with them. It's so interesting to see her like really engage and like describe like what like murder is or describe like you're watching something. He's like, what is that? And like Trisha will be like, well, that's when like somebody like kills somebody and they didn't like them and then they killed them and it's not good to kill anybody though. And you're just like, what's happening?
But what's crazy is like he's only been alive for 5 years. Yeah. Just think about yourself 5 years ago. You're basically the same guy. Yeah. There's not much difference between me 5 years ago and me today. No. But a 5-year-old kid 5 years ago he didn't know jack shit, and now he's asking you about eyes and are you dead? Yeah. He's like putting it all together. Yeah. It's wild.
It is. Like I just love like I don't know, they're so funny kids. Yeah. Like I'm just like I really enjoy like just hanging out with like like it's one of those things where I was just like I always knew that I like wanted kids and like wanted this stuff but I was just like I don't know how it will fit in with my whole thing, right? Like it's such a different thing where like you're your own individual, your relationship with your wife and your partner, and then like your children, and how does that all work? And like
Louis C.K. gave me some real good advice once about that. He said just let it change you. Yeah. It's wisdom in a sentence. Yeah. Just let it change you. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah. That's what happens too. It just changes you.
It's a wave.
But it's like you were talking about before where you're trying to hold on to your identity of being a partier. Yeah. That was your identity. There's a lot of people that have this idea of who they are, and then all of a sudden they have children, and then they change. It changes you.
It makes you like so hard and so soft at the same time.
You know what's really sad? When it doesn't change you. Yeah. Because I know guys where it doesn't change them. And those guys are sad. And they drift away from their family. They get divorced. They don't raise their kids. And it's just like there's a disconnect
I can't
for them
imagine.
that is just unimaginable. Yeah, it's unimaginable.
I can't imagine not love it. Like... Yeah, not loving
Yeah.
the kids. It's like it is a crazy thing because it's like the craziest thing too. Now that we're just talking about kids, but it's just like one of the things that makes me crazy, or not crazy, but the growth of the love and the connection, because it's like I mentioned that earlier, where it's just like and we did very intense home births, beautiful, very lucky to have no breaches or no nothing, and they were very, Trish did all the work. But
what do you do if there is a breach? If you're doing a home pregnancy, do you just get her to the hospital quick?
Yeah, like we have one midwife, and we did a doula for the first one, and then we literally didn't have anybody. It was just like me and the midwife for for Rizzo and Ozzy, and then. So yeah, if something goes down, then you just you call the EMS, and then you have a thing set up.
You're close to the hospital still?
No. Well, at the farm we're like 45 minutes. Yeah.
Fuck that. What if the umbilical cord's wrapped?
Fucking
unwrap it.
Unwrap it.
Get in there with your fists.
I'll fucking do anything. I'll take it out. But yeah, fucking kids. But the thing that I was trying to say is that the magic of television and our brains are like, the second it comes out, you have this eternal love, where you do have that eternal love, but the love really grows. Where instantly I felt very connect. I was like, oh my God, this is a baby. And it's like one of those things where it was so weird. You have to teach yourself to, because I grew up, I didn't really have pets. So I'm like, I was like, oh my God, I have to what's the name of the kid? For the first few days, I was like, "What the name is our kid again? MacArthur? Okay, MacArthur." I was just had to get into this thing of naming a child, and being it was just such an interesting ongoing thing where you're now Mac is such a fucking powerhouse, but it
feels surreal too, right?
Oh my God,
it doesn't feel real. Even to this day, I'll talk to my 12-year-old. We'll have a little conversation. I'm like, "Are you fucking real?
Yeah.
Are you really come out of my DNA?" And
dude,
how's that possible?
Dude,
and
it's possible.
Talking and laughing, and then they exhibit personality traits that are real similar to yours, and you're like, wow,
oh
this
my
is
God,
nuts.
My parents are like, it is eerie how Mac is like you. He's a fireball, and he's so sweet. And he's so it's just one of those things.
Keep him away from coke.
Yeah, I know. Well, everyone's on their own path too. Because I was just I've put so many intentions into just being I just hope he doesn't have that addict blood. And I'm like, he's got all my blood. He's me. This guy's a psychopath. I was just hopefully, we just give him the tools to be able to make the right decisions.
Yeah.
That's the thing is I'm not caught up in I'm I want my kid to be this and I want my kid to be that. I'm I just want my kid to be a good person that can make good decisions.
Good.
I think that's the best you can do.
You just want your kids to be happy human beings, and they don't have the saddest thing is when someone has expectations for their children that aren't their children's hopes and dreams, and they force them on their kids.
It ruins both. It poisons the well on both ends.
And it fucks up the relationship that you have. I've seen it with friends where their dads are upset at them because they're not living the life that the dad wanted for them. Hey, motherfucker, you're my dad. You don't own me. You're not my owner.
Yeah, I didn't ask to be here.
Yeah.
I didn't ask to be here, bruh.
You gotta let your kids be who the fuck they are, man.
Yeah.
And you can't help them too much either.
No.
You gotta stay away. You gotta let them find their own little path.
Well, that's the thing.
Because if you do, you hold their hand too much, not good.
I was like, Trish, I really want you to 19, they're out. They're out of the house. Go
buy your own Coke.
Yeah, go crash your own cars. Do whatever you want to do, but get out of here. Because I was just that's my biggest thing is I want them to live their life. I want them to make mistakes. I want them to fall down. I want them to be able to learn how to pick themselves back up. Sure. And I want where it's just I come from, we make a lot of mistakes, and there was no one there. I had a lot of beautiful support mentally. But there's no financial support from my family or anything like that, really.
You think you're gonna stay up there in Canada? What if they lock down harder? What if they keep going? The rest of the world's free.
I don't know. Fuck, my farm's pretty tight. I got enough land. Fuck, I grow vegetables. It's pretty fucking tight.
It's pretty cool,
dude. I'm that's the thing is,
self-sufficient.
Yeah, I'm I can grow enough vegetables to feed my family all year round.
Do you have animals up there too?
Not yet.
You gonna?
I don't know. It's a lot of responsibility, and just with my time.
Bison.
Yeah, just one bison. I don't have that much property. A couple bisons are sick.
You have a couple bison, and you can feed those fuckers. You could eat one of them for 2 years.
Dude, a bison is so incredible.
Yeah.
I fucking did a show where we went to a bison ranch and we got to ride 4-wheelers alongside like a herd. And it is thunderous.
Oh,
like
yeah.
to ride on these 4-wheelers with this bison rancher, and it was like the most beautiful thing ever. And all of a sudden, he was just like, you got to stay, they will come at you because you're a moving target too.
Right.
So like, there's even
threatening.
Yeah, well, it's just like you're a machine. They know that you're not a bison. And but riding along, it was like 250 bison.
Oh my God.
And like, he was like, check this out. He's like, just follow me. And I was like, okay. And he's like getting closer and he starts going faster. And all of a sudden they just start running. And then all of a sudden he's like, and he fucking has this big noise making thing and he lets it off. And all of a sudden it's like, and they can run like 60 miles an hour almost.
Holy shit.
And so it's just like, it's so fat. Like I had to like reef on the 4-wheeler to like keep up with these bison, this pack of bison or herd of bison. And it was like the most intense.
Why do you keep saying bison?
Bison? What are you saying?
Bison?
Bison? Bison.
Bison.
I say bison.
There's no EYE in there.
I'm from Canada. What do you say?
So
I say I'm a
there's-
bagel guy too.
Oh boy, you got problems.
Yeah, see, no,
Bagel?
I say bagel. I'm a bagel guy. See,
It's a fucking bagel, man.
I know, it's bagel. I said the exact same way.
You get a bat. You put a.
I'm a milk.
You
I
put your
say
bagel
milk
in
too.
a bag.
I get. You
What
buy
do you
3
say?
of them at a fucking time. Milk.
Milk?
Milk.
Malk? Like
Milk.
Malcolm?
I don't know. I got like a speech impediment.
You don't have a speech impediment.
There's no A's?
No,
Milk?
take off, eh?
Milk.
Like that.
Fucking A. Fuck
Yeah.
it. Get fucking straight. Fuck.
Well, dude, we're at the 3-hour mark. Believe it or not.
This is 3 hours?
Yeah, we did 3 hours.
I have to piss so
I know
bad.
you do. I can tell. I'm seeing you shifting around.
My little fucking pecker is just bursting.
You're
My
holding on to
foreskin's like tied up. Oh my God. Well, you
This
know,
was a lot of fun, man.
Joe Rogan, I've been experienced. Is that what they say at the end?
No, but now that you did, I hope nobody else
feel
does.
experienced. Dude, we talked about it. Dude,
We talked about a lot of shit.
I appreciate it.
I enjoyed it very much.
Hey, thank
And I
you.
appreciate you, man. You're
Hey.
a good dude. You're a fun guy.
Thank you.
And tell everybody how they can listen to Powerful Truth Angels and how they can see your YouTube stuff and all your jazz.
Well, you know, you can go to Matty Matheson. I think just Google Matty Matheson in the YouTube. Subscribe, like, fucking, you know.
Is that on YouTube as well? Powerful Truth
Powerful
Angels?
Truth Angels, yeah, is its own page. We almost got 10,000. Oh, no, we just beat. Yeah, we're over 10,000 subscribers, Joe.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we're gonna get a plaque soon, probably. Yeah, I'm doing really well, actually, Joe. So thank you so much. Yeah, I don't know how to find me. Google me. I don't fucking
Google
care. I don't know.
him,
I'm
Google
the
him.
worst plugger. I'm the anti-plugger. I don't give a fuck.
I'll plug you because I think you're awesome. I really do enjoy your shows. I enjoy your cooking. I enjoy your enthusiasm, your personality. You're a fun dude, man. I really enjoy it. We'll do this again.
We'll do it again.
We'll do it again.
We'll come back soon.
We'll do it again.
We'll come back soon.
Fuck it. We'll do it live.
Fucking let's go.
Woo!